What's up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going, Celtic Warrior Shane?
Soda.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
Fella.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Go ahead and stop the stream, and then we'll restart after that.
Welcome to episode 1 of Wrestling on the Rocks. That's right, the show where every show is our first show because we can't get it right. That is our pledge and our oath. We started at the bottom, and there we remain.
Yep.
Guys, we are WOTR, the show on Twitter. This is Wrestling on the Rocks. I am at Ref Marsh. As always, most of the time, usually...
Occasionally.
50% of the time. We got Clump. Go ahead and say hi, Clump.
Howdy. Pleasure to see y'all. Good to see you guys. Happy to be back. I'm Crybaby Clump.
And it worked today. It got tested by GR Lunar from the chat. He tested the old adding, and it worked once. So.
Oh, he did?
You know, well, I think he bought a watch.
All right.
Also with us today, Amanda. Go ahead and say hi, Amanda.
Hey guys. Oh, hola. Since we all had a different hello. So hola, mi amigos.
Oh, that worked.
How's it go? Whoa, shoot. How's it going? I just dropped my drink. Whoops.
Perfect.
Already fell.
It sounds like everyone's done it thus far, so do I have to drop mine now?
You're going to have to make a mess of
Probably.
some kind.
Yeah.
Something's going to have to happen.
And I
You
almost
see like
spilled my
sparks
sundae,
from
too.
behind him. It's like a bunch of sparklers going off right next to him. It's like, it's fine, guys. It's fine. All right. Guys, let's go through it real quick. What are you guys drinking? Amanda, what do you got in your glass?
Well, I have my non-sponsored Sonic as usual. Today we are doing the lovely cherry. And this time, cherry slush. And today I actually have Malibu with passion fruit. Because I picked up the wrong bottle instead of just regular Malibu. It's pretty damn good.
Happy accident.
This is a happy accident.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Clump, what do you got? What's in your glass?
I got Death Wish coffee with cream.
Nice.
Hell yeah. Is it like whipping cream or just like coffee cream?
Coffee cream.
All right. Because I just,
Yeah.
with you, sometimes I wonder. You know what I mean? I just never
No,
know
no,
if you're like all in.
You make fun of it all the time, and I get it. People see my coffee and they see the slightly brown milk I'm drinking, and they think, oh, that's chocolate milk. Or if that's coffee, that's got to be the sugariest thing ever. And then they take a sip and they're like, oh, why is it bitter? And I'm like, I like
Brutal.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it. No, I get it. But I do think that you have the propensity to potentially run out of creamer and find something else in the fridge to use. And if whipping cream was in the house and you were out of cream or otherwise, I feel like you'd go, what's good is good.
It
You know?
has happened.
Yeah. Hey to everybody in the chat, just in time coming through. Arizona Peach coming through. Cheers, guys. Thank you for coming through. I'm going to have tonight in my glass.
Who are you?
What?
You didn't introduce yourself.
I did introduce myself. We all introduced ourselves at the top of the show. All right, who are you? Off camera yelling at me about introductions.
Producer lady.
Oh, how about that? What's in your drink? What do you got? What's in your glass?
I'm gonna drink it. I'm waiting for him to get started.
Go! Well, the show's been halted and restarted, so here we go. I'm having in my glass Crown Royal salted caramel flavor, and this one I'm having specifically in honor of the recent passing of Jim Crockett Jr. He passed away on the 3rd. I don't know if that was yesterday. I have a hard time knowing what days are what. I didn't know if it was yesterday or the day before. So yesterday, the 3rd, if you're listening to this tomorrow when it drops, then 2 days ago, but March 3rd, Jim Crockett Jr. passed away. And listening to the Jim Ross Grill and JR podcast today, he had mentioned casually, because I don't think that the announcement was made when they recorded, that Jim Crockett actually introduced JR to Crown Royal. That was the first time I ever had was with him. So this one is for you, Jimmy Crockett Jr., Tears in Our Beers. Anything you guys want to say about him, go ahead.
That's awesome. I don't know much about Jim Crockett Jr. other than the Crockett name, but it's sad to hear somebody passing in the industry. He's a bit before my time, but tears in my drink for that individual.
Yeah, tears in your coffee.
Yeah,
tears in my
Amanda?
I'm kind of bummed because the last NWA event I was going to go to, besides the tapings that were going to go with it, was I was actually going to go to the Crockett Cup that they were doing. Was it? They were doing Crockett Cup again. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
So
announced
that's
like 4
kind
or
of
5
sad.
teams already.
Yeah, and that was really kind of sad that that would have been the last one had that happened, but yeah, it's really nice to know that, and also hearing yesterday too that, well, or at least a couple days ago, that NWA is actually coming back again. It's kind of a nice thing to know that it is, especially with his passing now. So at least they're trying to go on it again.
Yeah, they definitely made the announcement prior to the unfortunate passing of Jim Crockett. So I do hope that, and I think I'd be surprised if it was otherwise, but I do hope that their new pay-per-view they're doing back in the Attack, for the Attack or whatever, is dedicated to him at the very least. But yeah, when we were there for the NWA Hard Times taping, they had the Crockett Cup there, and James Stewart drank.
Oh yeah, that's right. He did. Yeah.
So that was cool. Right. But tears in our beers with Jim Crockett Jr., a legendary promoter, made a lot of careers. A lot of people who wouldn't be famous today if they were not given the opportunity that he was able to give them. So yeah, tears in our beers for that. Amanda, since you brought it up, let's talk about it real quick. NWA has announced they are coming back. So on March 21st, there's going to be a pay-per-view called Back for the Attack. There is no matches announced yet, but it is $20. You can buy it now. They'll be back. And then starting on March 23rd, 2 days later, NWA Power is returning to Fight TV exclusively. So also seems to be subscription based. What do you think about them coming back? I'll tell you, in my mind, I wish that they had done it in the reverse order. I wish that they had NWA Power come back for maybe 3 or 4 episodes before doing a $20 pay-per-view. I think for me personally, as excited as I am about NWA coming back, we're looking at a different landscape now. The majority of their talent is no longer signed or with the company. So, or they are no longer signed with NWA. A lot of them have signed with other companies. So it makes you really wonder, what are we going to get? What's going to be there? And I think that if they'd had a few episodes of NWA Power, it'd be easier for me to pull the trigger on a $20 expenditure, which I otherwise I'm only looking at a logo to discern if I want to get it or not. We'll start with Clump, and then we'll go to Amanda. Clump, what do you think about it?
I mean, I agree with you. I think I want, first I want NWA to succeed. I want more promotions present. The more promotions we have out there, the more wrestling we have, the better we'll do. The more we see on TV, because NWA had its own kind of unique flavor it developed versus AEW and NXT, which is really awesome.
Yeah.
Though them coming back in this way feels weird. I think we don't even know who the fuck they have left. Like, we know who has their belts. We know Aldis is there. We know Trevor Murdoch's there. We know Pope's there. But who else? And who else is going to have matches? I think you could do a lot more than what we saw today. So I'm curious. I'm excited, but a little bit less so than I feel like they could have made me.
Yeah, I feel like that I'm going to end up finding out what happens on the show and then deciding if I'm going to go back to watch it.
Yes.
Which I'm concerned that you're going to get a lot of that. Amanda, what do you think?
Well, I don't know. I thought that was odd that it was a pay-per-view. Because at first I'm like, oh, cool, there's a pay-per-view. What's happening before? Okay, nothing. All right. Well, that tells me, I'm like, I don't know. Because, the last, when we were supposed to have the Crockett Cup, that we were supposed to get like Aldis and Skrull 2.0.
Yeah.
And so I know that's not going to happen. But if it did, I'd be shocked. But I doubt that'll happen.
That'd be wild.
I wouldn't be mad about it. I would not. But
completely unannounced.
When we were thinking about who's on the roster, I mean, I think they still have Aaron Stevens.
Yeah.
because he's not doing anything. He didn't sign anything. Allison Kay.
No, she's no longer with them.
Oh yeah.
Oh, she isn't. Oh,
Yep.
God,
No, she
everyone
made a statement about that not being with them specifically. Yeah.
Oh, Marty Bell probably left too. And...
Yeah, she left.
Mhm,
So far as I
yeah.
know, their current
Melina?
roster,
Yeah.
Melina's a tricky one. They put her in the commercial for it, but she
Oh, I didn't
was
realize-
she mentioned she was in talks with WWE about coming back on some level. I don't know if any of that's true. I don't understand contracts and all of that, but potentially we have Melina, potentially Ashley Vox, but the ones we know for sure, Camille is still there, Aldis, like Clump said, Trevor Murdoch, Pope, Thunder Rosa,
Latimer. Yeah.
Latimer.
Royce Isaacs.
No, he's gone. He's not with them.
He's really?
Yeah.
Huh. But he's not.
Yeah.
I know he's not signed anywhere though.
Correct, but he also didn't. The statement he made as well did not sound like he was looking to go back. So I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who they have or what it's going to look like, especially when you consider that they did all those pay-per-views with Primetime Wrestling during the pandemic that didn't do all that much, and they had brought in people from all sorts of promotions to just get people to check it out, and I don't think that they sold all that great, to be honest.
Yeah.
No,
We might see Matt Cross again because I mean he's
Yeah.
not signed with anybody, and I think he really enjoyed his time in NWA, from what I gathered.
I agree.
So that's at least a win. I mean, then it makes you think, okay, who on the indies would you see? Now that's a whole different ball of wax because it's like, okay, well, who?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
And we
haven't
don't need a
had
fantasy book, whatever it is they're going to do. I was just asking what you thought about
Yeah.
the way that they're doing
Well,
it,
no.
bringing it in.
But it's interesting to see like where are you going to pluck people from because technically the independent scene hasn't really been going in the last year, so it's like, well, where do you get people? GCW, or what are you doing? So
Exactly, which is why it's going to make it difficult, and that's what makes it difficult to know. That's what I mean. Like for me, I'm waiting to see what already happens because with making no announcements and the fact that there's all those things to consider of where you even going to pull people from, it makes it to me like something I'm less likely to purchase blindly.
Yeah.
So, but I am excited
And
to see
I'm
them back.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I'm upset. I don't know about you, but I'm upset that they took all the content off of YouTube.
Well, it's because it's going to be behind a Fight TV paywall now.
Are they really putting all that behind Fight TV? Oh.
And that's
Like I get it, but I'm not thrilled with it.
I don't.
Well, if they gave me the other pay-per-views for free, well, I mean, I didn't, obviously I didn't, Hard Times I didn't get because I was there, but the other one I paid for and whatever. But if I can, I can have Hard Times because I've been wanting to go back and watch it, but
Yeah.
I haven't bought it, and it's still like
those look like different shows.
Yeah.
It looks like you'll be subscribing to Power, but then buying pay-per-views individually as they come out. It's going to be basically their whole show's going to be pay-per-view now.
Yeah, I don't know about this whole monetization thing about that. I don't know.
Yeah, Justin Time says maybe from Ring of Honor, and I also get it because they don't have any tickets to sell. So go ahead, Clump. What were you going to say?
That's fair. They might not have tickets to sell, so I could kind of get that argument there for like why they're doing it. But a lot more transparency would make sense here, or like would definitely help the story, like to kind of give a heads up as to what we're buying into, especially if there's now a paywall. What am I getting into? Like, show me more. And to lose the old content, I don't see a benefit to that because if you can tack on to the end of all your videos, and if you want to see more, we got this, because you can watch a lot of old wrestling content on YouTube from all the major promotions. Ring of Honor puts up stuff. Impact, back when and Global Force is a separate entity, post up crazy amounts of their stuff. Yeah. So why would you pull back not just your pay-per-views? I can get, hey, we're going to keep the Crockett Cup, or we're going to keep Hard Times on Fight, and you have to buy it there. But why the show that I didn't have to pay for to watch the first time?
Yeah, I think it's a little weird too, just because when I think about how Power really caught on, it was like a snowball for sure. Like they did a
Mm-hmm.
few episodes here. It was probably episode like 7 or 8 before we even jumped on board and started watching it. We watched the first episode after like 8 were out, just hearing there was good stuff. Or was it the reverse? I think we just watched one episode because someone was like, hey, you got to see this. We thought the feeling of it was so incredible. We just went back and then became obsessed with it. So by having it all behind a paywall, it really seems to me like, yeah, your hardcore fans who are live and die by the NWA will be back and they're going to pay for it. But again, as like a lot of these companies seem to have, what are you doing for people who don't know who you are yet?
Got Dork Chop in the chat.
Dork Chop, Hollywood Chop, Hollywood Dork Chop in the chat. Let's see what he says. He says the ejection of money they get from the fight deal probably kept the companies solvent. It sucks that the whole product is pay to watch now, but they got to bring in revenue somehow. And I hear that, but I think that you also have to capture people who are going to want to buy, right? Oh shit! Look at Dork Chop's icon. He's got that AEW title. He's been here for so long. He's got that AEW title I made as the top tier one. So for Chop as a shill for AEW, he's probably loving that all of a sudden. But yeah, and I agree too. And that's kind of what I was saying is I understand they have a lack of revenue right now. I think there's got to be somewhere in the middle. There's got to be something that you give some out for free just to get people to taste it. Every good drug dealer is going to give you a hit first. Dork Chop says they are betting on the hardcore people to want to stick with the product no matter what. Exactly, but you're
how many
also
hardcore
betting on the
people are
hardcore people to convince everyone else to buy. Go ahead, Amanda.
I mean, how many hardcore people are there really out there? You know,
4.
I'd say it's less than 10, you know, and honestly, like, I think that financially, if there's anything like if, you know, I mean, this would not be the first time that Billy Corgan has run a promotion to the ground. So,
Okay.
you know,
Okay, let's
No,
take
I'm
it
just
easy.
I'm just saying, you know, I'm just saying, you know, so, I mean, I don't really think it's the money, but I think it's dumb that, you know, you should leave a trail of breadcrumbs, you know, on YouTube to follow
100%.
to whatever. And I mean, and that's where I'm kind of like, well, you know, a lot of people did, like you guys did, like you started watching, you know, like what, 8 episodes into it or whatever. I mean, you know, I mean, obviously I watched from the beginning because my favorites were on there. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm sold.
But that's what I mean. Like, if they had done
Yeah.
this in reverse, if we already know that new Power episodes are going to be behind a paywall,
Yeah,
supposedly it's going to be a small amount. So let's assume it's $4. Let's just assume that
Yeah.
that's your subscription. $4 a month, you get all of Power. If you had some episodes leading into the pay-per-view first, then you could tell your buddy, hey, it's $4. You're going to get 5 episodes that lead you into this new pay-per-view. What do you got to lose? If you don't like it, don't buy the pay-per-view. But now we're doing it in reverse, where it says, hey, put up $20. It's a $20 buy-in to then hope that you're going to get more stuff through that and afterwards that you're going to be super invested in. So to me, it just feels backwards. In the chat real quick, Dork Chop says, I don't know how many people that even is anymore. Shots fired. And Justin said, damn, Amanda, tell him how you really feel. Yeah.
They need a tease.
hashtag
More of a
deal.
tease and less of just pay for dinner.
Yeah.
I got no appetizer. I don't know what you're cooking.
Yeah. I don't know what you serve here, folks.
You know what would have been
Um,
good is if they had done, give us a couple episodes of Power, but the first one, you don't pay for it. So it gives people that reintroduction to what Power is. And then
Yeah.
newer people who might not have watched it before on YouTube, who, you know, are like big people in fight and love, you know, just fight, and go that way. That would have been, I think, probably the smartest move if you want to capitalize monetarily. But
Or if you're
I
going to
don't
do it this way, instead of dropping a minute and a half today of a bunch of old footage from the show that's not going to be relevant to this pay-per-view, maybe put together a 2-minute or 3-minute video package of matches coming up and both members of each side saying what this means to them and why they're going to show up. You know what I mean? Like, do little promo packages, maybe one for each match every day of the week as we build up to it, you know? Just to have a video package of like, here's Nick Aldis against whoever he's going to go up against. Maybe he's going to do an open challenge. Have him come on there and say something. But this like minute and a half music video of remember the old show? Well, we're going to do some kind of, I mean, it can't be the same. And here's a bunch of people who don't work for the company anymore, but trust us. It's kind of like, okay, I love the company. I want it to succeed. I want it to be big. I feel like this is kind of a backwards way to do it, and I just hope that
Yeah.
it pays off.
Yeah, Marquez is even running it. I don't know who's running it.
They've lost a lot of people. They lost David Marquez. They lost Maureen from the back. But again, none of that's super relevant to us as viewers in that specific regard. But Clump, go ahead.
I feel the way that they're doing this is maybe the worst way. As we articulated and talked about it, I think this might be the worst way to do it, and it might be what ends them. And I don't want that to come true, but the reason I say that is not only is it that your stuff's behind a paywall going forward, and yeah, it's a cash injection, but if the terms of your cash injection are that everything going back and forward is behind a paywall, how are you going to, like, based on everything we said here, so that cash injection is just terrible for it, you know? I don't see a way of this working, you know, because hell, it's even hard to find NWA stuff, period, you know? Like, if I'm like a new person, like, looking for NWA on the internet, I can't see a way I'm gonna find it other than like Wikipedia or stuff, because they don't have push or advertising in other ways. They don't have the name value of Ring of Honor. They don't have anything really. You know, if you go on Pro Wrestling Tees, I'm not seeing their stuff thrown up front. You know,
No, they had their own merch store for a while, and I think that's been
Yeah.
taken down. But
Yeah, because they did their merch through Lapel, yeah, I believe.
yeah. So I guess end of the story on that one. Let's wrap that up because we don't need to keep going on things that concern us on it. We are excited that they are back. I am excited to see what this card holds. I do think there is inherently an issue with getting people to buy up front without knowing what's going to be there, and I think it's going to be a hurdle for them. So hopefully they put on something so big that people can't stop talking about it after it happens, and people buy it after the fact, because that could be big. Also, if enough stuff happens there, people might want to buy it before Power starts to say, well, I don't want to be behind an episode, you know? So hopefully they do big stuff there, and hopefully it's successful and moves forward, because I think we can all agree, like Clump said in the beginning of all this, more wrestling companies, the better. Places for people to sharpen their teeth, as it were. I mean, would Ricky Starks have been ready for AEW had he not gone through NWA first? Maybe.
yes,
There's a good chance.
it's not hard to
Probably.
get there.
Well, that's a good point.
But
It's not hard to get to that level.
But
Yeah, well,
he's a standout once he gets there, and maybe getting that TV time was helpful. So
There's a 10-year-old child who's a standout there as well.
there's a good point. Kuro's in the chat says a question for us. You probably should ask it. The other thing I wanted to talk about before we get going, just to know what you guys thought about it. The Meltzer Awards. Did you guys see what the Did you guys see the Observer Awards at all?
Mm-hmm.
So, Clump, I don't know if you saw it or went through any of it, but
I saw
did
Tony
their-
Khan got Promoter of the Year.
Promoter of the Year, Booker of the Year, Human of the Year, Father of the Year. I think he got Guitarist of the Year, Best Driver,
I think
Safest
you got
Walker.
Sexiest Man alive in wrestling. I don't know.
Yeah.
Swimsuit of the Year.
Snazziest dresser, best glasses, nicest haircut. I think he got it all. Most likely to be Tony Khan, he got. But I will say that the Bryan Danielson Award for excellent wrestler with the most technical skill did not go to Daniel Bryan, because Daniel Bryan's the least like Daniel Bryan, so he wouldn't win the award named after him, of course. So, let's see. Kuro says, Dork calls it the Meltsies. He says, a big channel I follow is giving me permission to promote your podcast. I want your guys' permission as well. Kuro, you're welcome to talk about us anywhere you want, on any way you want, about us in any form you'd like. You have our utmost and full permission to utilize any of our clips and audio as you see fit. And we
I would
appreciate
really
it.
like
We
it
appreciate
if
you
you put
thinking
it
of
into
us.
depositions or like in federal court. That would be my
Just
goal.
whereas, as long as you say whereas. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, go ahead. Whatever you want to say. If you want to clip us and talk some shit on us, I don't even mind, man. You're a good friend, and you can talk all the shit on me you want.
Like Amanda's
that's-
mean.
Eric's got a high voice.
Yeah. And somehow it doesn't work, but they keep doing it. I do want to say this about the Meltsies. To me, so looking at it, just from a numbers perspective, there's about 1,200 people who voted. So it's 1,200 subscribers to the Observer. This wasn't a
Oh yeah.
this wasn't an award that Meltzer himself just went ahead and said. To me, here's the part that I thought was the funniest about the uproar, the amount of people just talking very upset on this, and I can't believe this, I can't believe that. I mean, just telling you, even the way we started, I don't take it all that seriously. It looked to me like a focus group. It looked to me like a survey for him of, hey, readers, what did you want me to talk about? Who do you like? Who do you not like? The awards simply, to me, showed that if there was ever a reason before to wonder why Dave Meltzer just shits on the WWE all the time and talks about how perfect AEW is, because literally look at his readers. That's what they want. He stands to gain literally nothing by talking negatively about the people they keep saying are the best ever. I do think that his narrative helps that cause. I do think that he particularly likes those things too, so he pushes it a certain way where he talks very negatively about the other thing to help sway his audience. I do think there's that. But at the end of the day, all his readers just said, hey, they literally voted WWE as the worst promotion of the year and voted The Fiend as the worst gimmick in the year and said the best gimmick of the year was Orange Cassidy. They also put Being the Elite as a better show than SmackDown. It's a YouTube comedy thing. Like, it's just weird. So with that in mind, you just look at it and go, oh, this isn't about, like, fans of wrestling. This is about specific Dave Meltzer's readers. Like, of course he's going to talk the way he talks. Clump, did you see any of this? What do you think?
I mean, just hearing that, I think we should have our own, like, award show, and we can call it, like, yeah.
We did, yeah.
Yeah, like, but, like, like, our own kind of, like, brand of being dickheads and saying
we could be worse, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, that's just so fucking upsettingly bad. Like, I get, like, an Orange Cassidy. Believe me, I have an Orange Cassidy shirt. It was given to me by a person, but I have one.
Yeah.
He's okay. It's cool.
I understand getting a kick out of him.
Yeah, but, like, The Fiend is a fantastically different character, and I'm sorry, like, SmackDown, WWE, as a promotion, they are the standard by which you inherently will be measured. They can't be the worst, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they may not be the best. I would say they're not the best, you know, they're
right,
for sure. There's definitely weak points, but they're such an entity. They're so big. They're such a consistently present, and I mean, they are the definition of wrestling when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
What is making them the worst thing ever? If that's the case, then why are we
what are they
watching
the worst
this?
at? Exactly, and why does everyone watch it? It's a little weird. Dorkchop does say in the chat, also curious as I have to leave before I get in trouble talking about Dave. You don't have to chime in, but Dorkchop says, I think Meltzer is invaluable as a historian in that you can always go to the Observer and see match write-ups going back for years, but his word on wrestling is not gospel. I think it's very true too.
Yes.
He's always been his personal opinion. And I also think that listening to Conrad's podcast as he breaks down a lot of these shows from a lot of the different companies as they go, you can hear it go back really far. Meltzer, once the WWE cut him off and stopped calling him direct about stuff, he really changes his tune on a lot, and he really shits on almost everything they do. When you look at, like, the history of the Observer Awards, the WWE, in one way or another, has only won like 5 or 6 ever. And you're going to tell me that this is the other thing that was funny. For Promoter of the Year, Paul Heyman won every year of ECW's existence. And you're like, interesting. During the time that Stone Cold Steve Austin's running amok, and they're saying, no, Paul Heyman's just better at this. And you're like, what? Like,
as they're going bankrupt, as he's not able to pay them, as he's working for WWE.
Best Promoter of the Year. Doesn't pay the talent, but
and you
good
can
at it.
Best Promoter of the Year, and you can see him announcing WrestleMania 17 coming.
Yeah, here he comes out, still Promoter of the Year on someone else's product. So yeah, to me it's funny just because of that, but also, like, you can hear his bias in those. He was reviewing a cruiserweight match in one of them where he said, this match was amazing, nearly perfect. They did this move, they did this move, they did this move. I would have liked a springboard moonsault. They didn't do it. It would have made the match perfect, but otherwise great. But that was like his review. And you're like, wait, what? And then you look at his stars system, like guys like Undertaker, Hogan, Rock, Stone Cold, Brett, Shawn Michaels, like none of them have ever got a 5-star match. And you're like, does he just not like stories? You know what I mean? So I do think that there's, as an opinionated person, he doesn't hold the weight of, if it's a 5-star match, that means it's an incredible match. If it's a 5-star match, it probably means it was a lot of moves and exciting, which isn't always the same thing. Amanda, what did you think of all this?
Well, first of all, I'm going to comment about the 5-star matches. It's only a 5-star match if it happened in the Tokyo Dome. That's the preface. So since The Rock and Stone Cold and all those guys, Hogan, they weren't main eventing the Tokyo Dome, so it wasn't 5 stars. So just remember that. Remember that. Or 6, apparently, because that's the new standard. But no, his awards, it made me laugh. But what really made me laugh was everyone's reaction to it. And I'm like, come on, people. Like, don't be stupid. Like, obviously, when you read Meltzer's stuff, there's a bias. And, I don't, personally myself, I've never understood the hype of him. I've actually sat next to him at APW because, he's in my hood and, and it's like, everyone's like, oh my God, you sat next to Uncle Dave. I'm like, so? He probably was annoyed with me because, like, I bring the fire, but, and, but I don't know. It's
bring the fire,
I mean, but with Dave though, the issue that I have is he sets a lot of these people up on this high mountain, and he'll always, like, PWG, he's always gonna like keep that at the high mountain. New Japan, that's the high mountain. Obviously now AEW, that's high on the mountain for him, and he'll shit on everything else, and it's fine. But my thing is, you got to take Dave with a grain of salt, and also to be fair too, a lot of people don't realize this, but I've been at PWG a couple of times where he's fallen asleep during some matches for the whole match, and I'm like, how the hell did he rate that? And I don't understand. So that's where you got to like kind of understand with like Uncle Dave that, hey, that's what what it kind of is. So I just whatever.
The match started great, and then he just goes into like a terrible sex dream. This is what really I enjoyed, is I had this.
Yeah, just like weird dreams, like as I floated and the Tyrannosaurus chased me. 3.5 stars. I also think that it's pretty obvious when you look at like the way that all the old stuff was written too. There's matches that happen on the same night that aren't televised that he rates successfully. So he's not even at all these, which is also fine. I think Dork Chop says it best though. He goes, his super fans and super haters both annoy the shit out of me. I agree. I think that at the end of the day, you hear that Dave Meltzer likes something, and the proper response is probably like, oh, Dave Meltzer liked that, okay. And you move on. Like, I don't know why people go, it's good because Dave Meltzer said so. No.
Yeah, that I don't get. The things I like, I don't think Dave Meltzer likes, probably doesn't like anything that I like. So,
Yeah.
Like, you should.
Matter of fact, it's kind of like a, he's no more than like a movie reviewer. Go ahead, Clump.
Yeah.
You should be like, oh yeah, he liked it, like a movie review. Oh, I hear this is good. Let's go check it out. It may not be for me. And I'm looking at his. He's a big NXT fanboy. Like, as much as he wants to shit on WWE, it's kind of funny to me. He's a huge NXT fanboy.
Well, why? I'll tell you. All the PWG guys are there.
Yes. So what is it?
That's why he likes them.
And they do NXT. Yeah, they do things differently. I would say NXT's my favorite WWE show. They tend to have my favorite pay-per-views, but they are still WWE in a lot of ways, and it's kind of. It's a remarkable level of cognitive dissonance to sit there and be like, oh God, this is the shittiest thing ever. And then like the night prior be like, oh my God, these people are amazing. Why aren't they on the night that I'm going to shit on tomorrow?
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. It's 100%. And I do think that at the end of the day, to me, I read those awards as a focus group. Like really reading it and looking at it, you go, okay. This absolutely should control the narrative that Dave pushes because he's trying to sell subscriptions, and he just got a whole bunch of votes of his fans saying this is what I like. Talk good about this. You know what I mean? He's got no reason to talk negatively about those things.
But to say that BTE is better than like SmackDown, that's a stretch. Now,
they said the best wrestling book of the year was the Young Bucks, on the same year that Andre the Giant book came out.
Oh wow.
And a Jim Ross book, and you're like, okay, guys, relax.
But is
but,
it
you
a
know,
kid's book?
But no, like I don't know, like BTE. If I were to say like, oh yeah, BTE, when was it great? Oh, it was great a long time ago. Probably, the first like 100 and maybe 30 episodes. But ever since then, it's like, no, it's obnoxious now.
Right, but see, that's just it. It's all just the opinions of their voters. So at that point, like,
but that
you might not
technically
be...
BTE shouldn't be considered as a show like a SmackDown or NXT or anything like that, because, well, not to knock YouTube, but it's like it's a little thing that started off with these guys were journaling their travels, on the road, and now it's not even really them. I mean, it kind of is, but not really.
Well, it so seldomly includes wrestling. How is the show that
is a wrestling show?
Yeah, how does a show that essentially has only held actual wrestling matches for a brief period of 2020? Because so it might have an argument to even be it, because this past year in 2020 there was a period of time where they were hosting show or wrestling matches on Being the Elite because of COVID. But for so much of it, it's not. I mean, your highlights are what? Watching Hangman Page and Joey Ryan have a thing? It's not great,
No,
right, but at the end of the day, that's the whole point, is that none of that matters, right? Is that this is just what their fans say is the best wrestling show. So to me, it made me laugh more than anything. Dorkchop says he looks forward to Being the Elite every Monday. Don't forget, he's a shill. And that's also true. I think that's exactly what I'm trying to say. I don't need us to break down every episode of Being the Elite to say that clearly what it is that his viewers who are willing to vote, 1,200 of them said they really enjoy Being the Elite more than they enjoy watching anything else. And it could likely be because they watch nothing else. They watch Being the Elite and they watch AEW. That's what they have decided they're going to like, so they do. All I'm saying is that probably has an influence on his narrative and the people who subscribe to him. So yeah, we don't need to break down the show anymore, but it is hysterical to read it and then go, oh, how can you possibly be mad at what he tweets about? He's clearly catering to his audience. Guys, let's talk AEW for a minute.
Oh, I was going to throw one thing out real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to throw one funny kind of just news thing. Somebody threw out a question to CM Punk or Mr. Brooks about what talents he wants AEW to have, and he just responded, I want them to focus on the talents they have, which made me smile, and kind of goes into our talk of AEW, because I think that is,
it will,
in not jumping into too much of this, that's kind of the tenor of AEW this week for me, is focus on who you have.
Focus on who you have, for sure.
He also
anything... Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say CM Punk, Phil, Mr. Brooks, whatever you want to call him.
Phil.
Punk.
Phil.
Because
yeah,
it's disrespectful to call him by his name if you don't know him, so we'll go by Punk.
Yeah, no, Mr. whatever. Actually, I really, no. I still have an issue with him, but anyways.
Me too. I don't have to be disrespectful to him, though.
But no, I don't either. But yeah, so Mr. Punk, there we go, Mr. Punk.
Perfect.
So Mr. Punk someone had asked him about if he were like to face anybody in AEW, who would he want? And he had like a list of about like 5 people that they would. And actually that list kind of shocked me of who was on there.
Yeah.
But I'm not surprised though. I think it was like Will Hobbs was on there, Ricky was on there, Darby was on there. I'm trying to think of who else. But those were the ones that I remembered that stood out, and I think maybe Hangman was on there. I don't know, but this was a couple of months ago. But yeah, no, I mean he's obviously watching it. So
yeah, he's clearly watching at least some of it. There's no reason for him not to at least check it out.
Yeah, he can say that. Oh yeah, no, I don't watch this, but no, you know enough that you know. You might not watch the Dark Order, but I know we all know why. So
he also might just not watch every single week and every single Dark episode. He might just catch what he catches, and that is what it is. And catching whatever you catch is still probably enough to see those guys and think highly of them, because it doesn't take very much time on TV before Ricky Starks lets you know that he's somebody to pay attention to. Dorkchop does say in the chat, I miss CM Punk's entire career, so honestly I have no opinion about him one way or the other. Pipe bomb promo was cool. The pipe bomb promo was so funny to me.
Yeah, but how do you miss someone that his career? I mean,
Well, it was easily missable. I'll give you that. I mean, I've gone
Well,
back to rewatch a lot of it, and I wish I hadn't.
yeah, like what was it? The Straight Edge Society. We didn't need that. You know.
Well, either
But no, but
way,
I mean,
AEW opens up with Cody Rhodes, Red Velvet against Shaquille O'Neal and Jade Cargill. This is the only segment I did watch in its entirety. Was this match? I'll be honest, Shaq was so much better than I thought he was going to be. He was actually way better than a lot of the talent they bring on for random episodes of stuff.
He was
But
not
apart
fantastic
from-
by any means, but he wasn't bad. Like, I mean,
No,
I
he
was
telling
not
a story.
expecting anything. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, he was doing the best he could. I also felt like Cody deserves like a Purple Heart for this one. Just trying to carry this thing through with three people who clearly do not have very much ring time under their belt and performing as such. So Cody is awesome. Clump, what do you think of this match overall?
I think Red Velvet and Cody did. I liked Red Velvet more coming out of this. I agree with you. Nobody other than Cody had a heck of a lot of time under in the ring under them, and you could see it. But Shaq, I was expecting like the worst thing ever. I'm thinking of this is a guy who's been in the NBA 20 years. He's retired. His knees probably are shit. His hips are probably shit. He's a biggin.
Yeah.
I'm expecting lumbering and painful to watch. And I was like, oh, okay.
He moved well.
This is something, it's not, a 5-star match, but it's definitely a lot more than it had any right to be. And yeah, that made me happy. I think Shaq did do a lot to tell a story and kind of, keep furthering this feud, and sold like he sold well, which I thought was cool. It was neat to see, one of your people coming in who's supposed to look like this triumphant, celebrity monster get his ass handed to him and actually sell for a minute,
Oh yeah. No, he did. Actually, he sold better than Cody in this match, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
what
he
also
did.
was cool, Justin is in the chat. He says, the match absolutely shocked the hell out of me. I was the one who thought it was going to be a complete disaster. Dorkchop said, Shaq taking that bump made me lose my mind. For a guy that size and that green, that was a hell of a risk, and he did it perfectly. I was thinking that too. He's so big that I thought there's a possibility with him that he could hit his head on the guardrail, which would not be a possibility for others because he's so big. And Cody did a great job of getting his chest down before it got over. Like, it was just so cool to see the two of them work together on that one and have it. And I think that Cody did just as much for that as Shaq did. And again, a lot of props to Cody on that one. We're going to do this. And it looked incredible. Those tables exploded.
Oh yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah. It was so
amazing.
good. Just in time. Yeah. Table one person saying big ups to Shaq. He's not just wrestling big either. Shaq is absolutely massive, which is true, even compared to guys like Big Show and Lance Archer, etc. backstage. Yeah, and that was one of the cool things about it coming in was that, for one, when Shaq came out, his arms looked jacked. I loved that because when he stood toe to toe with Big Show during that Rumble the one time, his arms didn't look like that. So I like that he's clearly been working out for this one. Amanda, what did you think of this match?
Oh my God, let me just say that in the back of my mind, I'm probably like in the minority. I'm like, I think Shaq's going to be amazing. And I really didn't say it because I didn't want people to think, God, you're on crack. But he did not shock me. I just thought it was, oh my God, this is amazing. The bump shocked the shit out of me because there's people that are on their roster that don't take bumps. Just saying. And here's, Shaq who, did it. I was waiting to see his what did he call it? The Black Hammer. Didn't see that, but
Tornado
there's always
or
the
whatever.
next time. But it for me it was great. Jade, I think, is going to be, she's got such a great persona. It's like kind of like Ricky. She's got that presence. But what I kind of can live without, and I wish that she, and even with Red Velvet, Shaq, Shaq is Shaq, so whatever, but there was a lot of, okay, let me do this unnecessary, pose. Like, yeah, and it didn't, that didn't necessarily need to happen like every time. I mean,
that was
if you
the only
throw it
thing
in
that took
once or
me out of
twice.
the match. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Every
mean
time
that's
Red Velvet or Jay did anything, they stopped to pose and do something into the camera. And it was
Yeah.
so much that it became to me,
And
I
it
was
was
like, can they stop
forced.
playing around and stop playing wrestling and stop
Yeah,
being,
it
I'm a
was very
wrestler, so I'm
forced.
going to play to the camera? Yeah, way forced.
Yeah.
Just
Very
fucking fight,
forced.
guys. Just fight.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, Shaq didn't have those moments. I don't think Shaq had those moments at all.
No.
I think it was he might have had one, one or two, but that's normally what people have, but I think his big shining moment really was the whole table thing. That was just incredible.
Yeah.
And I think Cody,
And the
like for as
powerbomb.
much, and the power bomb too. I
And
mean,
the
that was
powerbomb.
like, that was beautiful. I mean, I
Dude, I
was
heard
like,
it.
wow. I mean, he prepared. He came prepared. And I think about like, okay, whatever Bow Wow and Bad Bunny and all these other, whatever. I'm like, no, you guys need to watch Shaq because he really went in there and he took it seriously.
Do you
And
think that
no
Bad
joke.
Bunny's going to be able to do a power bomb like Shaq? Come on.
No, hell no. Hell no. I don't even think he could do a super kick without making it look awkward,
Well, maybe.
But
Super kick's pretty
no,
good.
no. But yeah, no, I think I would love to see Shaq back again. That's just me because I think it was pretty awesome because I mean you get a lot of people in sports who come and do some of these things and they don't. You're like, oh, why did you, like, why are you here? And I'll even go there to say that, yeah, if he had like more training, he probably, and I'm going to use Ronda Rousey here. I mean, shit. I mean, she's okay, but if he really was serious about it and had more training, I think that, he could have another career out there. I really
He
do
could.
think that.
It would have to be. It'd have to be done carefully, because I do think that Shaq has a lot of respect for the business based off things we've seen of him in the past and all. But I do think also he's not the best talker. Like, he's not bad, but he's not the best talker. He is a spectacle, so people will want to watch. But you can't just how much can you do before that runs dry? It's just it has to be done carefully. But I do agree with you. It is a possibility. Let's see.
Yeah,
Dork Chop
but
is in the chat, and Justin, real quick. Justin says Jade's got to lay off the over excessive taunting. Dork Chop said Jade did great for someone having their first match. Her selling and general work rate will improve with time, but those power moves look legit. Yeah, her power moves look good. I also am starting to get a little tired of watching people learn, so I was hoping she'd be a little bit crisper, but I hear you. Dork Chop says the posing thing is still very indie wrestling. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, there was very much of all of the posing between the women. The bullshit on the side of the ring with the guns and the table and the chair, a lot of that shit. I'm just like,
God.
can we just look professional for a fucking match here where everyone's watching? And then Dork Chop does say they got their Sports Center moment, which is what they were out for, I'm sure. Justin Time does bring up a good point, and I was going to ask you both about this. He said the Brody tribute before the powerbomb was a good moment. Right before Shaq does the powerbomb, he does the hands to his lips and does that like kind of like blowing a kiss thing that Brody would do. I'm really curious about that. I thought it was nice. I want to know more about it. I want to know whose idea it was. I want to know if it came from Shaq. His personal feelings towards Brody would be nice. I'd like to hear more because, I mean, it's probably me sounding way cynical and I don't mean to, but part of me wondered, I was like, are they just having him do that to get the retweets on that? Was that something someone told him to do and said, trust us, people will love it? Or does this come from a good place? Because I think that it probably comes from a really good place. But if it does, I want to know more about that good place. I want to know more about why Shaq wanted to tribute Brody specifically and not, I'd like to hear that it wasn't just like, oh yeah, Cody told me to do that. You know what I mean? I want to hear more good stuff out of it. Clump, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I want to hear more about what happened there. I don't think it was meant to just be like, oh, we have to like throw in a spot for Brody because they're doing a lot for him.
Yeah.
My hope is and I believe it's just Brody was a fantastic dude. Backstage, we learned a lot, and I could see it be a situation because they have his family and people around him there. Shaq meeting people, being like, oh yeah, these people are awesome, and that's cool to me. That means. That makes it something special. I'd like to know more, but even if it's something as simple as, hey, it's a cool dude, I like that. Yeah.
Amanda, what'd you think of it? I just don't want it
You
to
know-
turn. The reason I say that though is I want to squash the idea of some of the stuff being for pandering reasons, and I think that that's a mentality that's out there. Is how much are they doing this to pander? And I think that with a moment like that is so cool, I want to squash any shadow of a doubt that it could just be pandering because I don't want to believe that it is. Does that make sense?
No, I don't think it's pandering at all.
I
Because
hope
one of the thoughts that came into my mind at first was, okay, Brody Lee was a taller, bigger dude.
Yeah.
Okay, and a power bomb move. That power bomb looks powerful, especially when you're, like when you're really tall and the person you're doing it to is really small. So it's kind of like, oh yeah, having like Marco's stunt. If he were to, I don't know if you guys saw the picture of Marco with Paul White backstage, and it was like, it looks good when somebody that's bigger and has that presence can do it. And I don't think it's really the pandering because Shaq supposedly it's a fan, so I don't think that that's a big thing. I think sometimes the pandering is we're using the sun a lot, but that's where I think the pandering really is right there. But
I hear you.
Who am I?
Dorkchop does say, to just tack on that real quick, Dorkchop says were Shaq's WWE appearances at the time that Brody was there, and they might have at least met a few times. He goes, I don't want to speculate, but I'm curious too. And I agree too. And I also think that there's nothing wrong with, it's not necessarily pandering either if Shaq wants to show respect and knew that was something. Even if he asked, is there something I can do that would show a tribute to Brody because I got a lot of respect for how much the fans love him? Or can I do something that would let the fans know? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that's necessarily pandering either if that was part of the story in and of itself. Like, I don't think that Shaq had to know him. I'm not saying, like, I'm not gatekeeping tributes to Brody. You know what I mean? I'm not saying, well, if you don't know him, you can't do it. That's bullshit. It could just be that he has so much respect for what's going on around him and there to say, I'd like to do some sort of tribute. What could I do? They give him that and say, yes, and the people will love it too. How great will that be? I don't think that's necessarily pandering. You know what I mean? So I just want to know more about it because I think that if he's got a cool Brody story, I want to hear it. I'm not getting enough of those. I'm not tired of them.
That should have been on Shivani's thing on, YouTube. Someone should have asked that question, instead of these stupid ones that people do. But, it kind of is what it is. But I also think, too, that most promotions, when someone who's on, well, actually, I can't think of a time. Well, I can only think of Benoit, but, we're not going to go there with that one. But, like, when someone who's passed that was a part of the roster, the current roster, I can't think of like one who did. And I think because AEW did a lot of things with it, it kind of put this, this bar out there, that, that's kind of what they did. I don't know if it's because maybe Tony's the ultimate fanboy, but, they've done a lot and it's, not bad and anything I think that's bad. It's just, that's where it's kind of going with it. And I think anybody who had seen that and, and not only that, but have watched the product and saw what was going on. Yeah, it's a very touching thing. And so, and I don't want to say it's like, oh, it's, pretty recent still. I mean,
it is.
Recent. Obviously it still affects a lot of people. So,
oh yeah. Think about it this way. You said you can't think of many, but I can think of a few off the top of my head. I mean, we lost Owen, Brian Pillman, Eddie Guerrero, like you said, Benoit. All of them were active wrestlers at the time. And we still see tributes to Eddie Guerrero by people who probably never met him. You know what I mean? Like they'll do the little shimmies, they'll do the Three Amigos, and I always think those things are cool. But I always want to know the story behind it. Even when I see that with Eddie, like when Andrade does the Three Amigos, part of me is all like, well, obviously, clearly, he would have been inspired by him. But I still want to hear that story. I still want to hear him talk about it, and that's kind of more where I'm trying to come from. I'm not trying to, like I said, gatekeep that in any way, and I don't want it to come out negative, but I saw that. I thought, that's really nice. I want to know if there's a story behind it. And just knowing the internet wrestling community being as shitey as they can be, because that's what they do, they're children, I know that there's a narrative out there that the AEW is pandering and stuff. And so I think it would also crush that if we had the story of how this moment came to be. And like I said, it could be cool just to hear Shaq say, I know that they lost a good friend. I asked what I could do to tribute him because of the respect I have for the company I'm in and the fans who are watching. That could be all I need for me to say that's
I
beautiful.
say you put
You know?
you need to put your journalist hat, and I say that in quotation marks, your journalist hat on, and see if you can, like, hey, Shaq, I have like just a few minutes of your time. Gotta ask you this question because I know like no one in wrestling is gonna ask this because there isn't anybody who's gonna ask that.
Yeah.
And that would be awesome if you could do that.
Yeah.
Shoot
Dorkchop
him
says in the
alive.
chat, yeah, I'm going to DM him real quick. He said, listening to Amanda Huber on the AEW podcast was really eye-opening about the whole thing and how things were working backstage. 100% recommend if you missed it and can handle Aubrey's asinine commentary. And I appreciate that little tidbit there because he knows how I can be, having listened to her interviews in the past. So I appreciate that concept. I also know that in that interview, she really broke down like the last couple months of Brody's life. And part of me is having a hard time imagining listening to that because of how much I associate Brody with someone else I lost. So I hear you, and I think I probably get around to it. I don't know when that's going to be, but if you guys haven't, I suggest if you guys think you can do it, and let me know what you think. But yeah, 100%. I think that the moment in and of itself was cool, and it is fun to look at that GIF and just go, man, if nothing else, Shaq's dope. he's the fucking man right there.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see unless there's something else you guys want to say about that match.
No, I think we nailed it pretty good. You know that.
I'm gonna get it all
I
right.
want more Shaq. More Shaq.
Yeah. More Shaq is not gonna bother me one bit. That guy's. Nope. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go buy some Icy Hot. I'm gonna put it right on top of my Papa John's. I'm gonna call the general to insure my car before I get there, and I'm gonna put Frosted Flakes right on top of it just to celebrate Shaq even more.
And I think maybe we should take the podcast live at sea and go on a Carnival cruise.
Go on a Carnival cruise. Dorkchop says he's got to go. He's got to stream again. Love you, Dorkchop. Thank you for coming through. Cheers to Hollywood Chop for coming through for part of the show. And if you guys want to ever come through and derail the chat or be a part of the conversation, twitch.tv/Wrestling on the Rocks is where you can join. We're also at this point going live with Twitter, my personal Facebook, so we haven't gotten the public Facebook up yet, to stream, and our YouTube. So if you go to WrestlingOnRocks.com and find any of those platforms, you'll be able to find us live and be able to join in too. I just personally only see the Twitch chat, so that's the one that we definitely make sure that we always hit. The other chats kind of come and go as we get random alerts, and it's not seamless, but it's only the first episode, guys. It's just the first episode. It's all good. The only other thing I had to say about AEW at all, and if you guys want to bring up other things, you're more than welcome to, is Paul White, formerly known as The Big Show, made his first appearance on AEW TV wearing a t-shirt that said "No More BS," which supposedly some people were not understanding, and I just think that goes to the internet wrestling community being primarily children. But I think for "No More BS," there's no way you can mistake that, right? It's "No More Big Show" and "No More Bullshit" in the same shirt, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What is... Yeah, so...
double entendre.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. I mean, double entendre, I think, usually has a different sort of connotation. Oh, by the way, for you, Clump, I'll tell you here, because I don't know if you can see it from where you're at. I got the Rainbow Bad Dragon sticker out here and the pin over up to the
Hell
side.
yeah.
So, just friends of the show kind of a deal.
Yeah.
Clump, what did you think about Paul White coming out, making his comments, saying he's got the biggest scoop ever, and I don't think that was a litter joke. He said that there is going to be a new hire on this Sunday's Revolution pay-per-view with someone who is Hall of Fame worthy, which I believe to mean unlikely to be Hall of Fame level now, but deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. So someone without a ring, but ought to have a ring. Clump, what do you think about this?
I liked the Big Show. I liked Paul White coming out. I don't like the shirt gimmick. You know, like it's silly and fun.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I kind of. Yeah. It was a bit too far for me. Just a bit too like. Blech. But I think he's good on the mic. I want to hear more of him. You know, I think he can do well. I think it's an interesting role. I am a little bit curious to see who comes out Sunday at the show, but who knows? We'll find out. My hope is it's something cool and not just like, you know, another WWE like it didn't work out story.
Well, it has to be right because you can't be Hall of Fame worthy if you've never been part of that company to begin with. They're the only Hall of Fame. Amanda, what do you think?
Well, no, there's the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame in Iowa.
That's true.
That sounds sad.
Yeah. No, it's not sad. It's actually, it's a really good. I have friends of mine that are in Iowa. Shout out to my Iowa crew. That
Shout out to Eddyville and Pancake Day. Go ahead.
Yep, it's a really cool thing. No, I have a feeling, and I wonder, and a lot of people are wondering this too, if Mr. Punk is the one. Could be.
I think it'd be stupid, but okay,
why I don't know,
going.
but I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Money talks, so whatever. He's looking pretty bad though, so I don't know. But is what it is. The shirt I thought was hilarious. I'm like, oh yeah, that damn shirt company. Boy, they sure know how to really pick and choose some good stuff. So yeah, kudos. So I don't know if Big Show was responsible or if the powers that be. So with Big Show though, it's going to be really interesting because when I think of him, I don't necessarily think of him with a microphone.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Jury's out on that. But
even then, just because you can cut a promo doesn't mean you can do commentary. I thought it was very interesting. He said he's here to follow his passion of commentary. Because I go, oh, we haven't seen that side at all. Yeah. So I'm very curious. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the weird part about it. I don't know, because I think of when I think of people who didn't get a lot of mic time per se in the WWE. I think of people I think Mark Henry would be phenomenal on commentary. But Big Show, you're like, what? Huh? So it'll be interesting to see. So, he gets the other YouTube show. So,
yeah, I think it's an interesting spot for him too. Justin chimes in the chat saying, AEW honestly was pretty good this week. I had a go home show feeling to hype you up for Sunday. He said, I honestly don't think it'll be Punk. Everyone who thinks Punk is ever going to return to wrestling is just holding on to the pipe dream that I believe is never going to come true. I agree with that. I also don't like Punk almost at all, so I don't care to see him. So when I fantasy book things I find exciting, to me, he's more of a meme and a joke than he is a serious thing that I would take. Also, if they said it's not who you think it is, and if Tony went on to some other interview and said it's not who everyone's going to be saying, that immediately to me means, okay, CM Punk probably not it. Marty doesn't have a Hall of Fame career. Now, I will say, if you want to hype the idea of Marty, Tony did say the person who's appearing and signing a contract will not be the person who's going to be stuck in the ladder match. So you have two people appearing on Sunday, unadvertised as big spots. So Tessa Blanchard, someone said, producer agrees that's possible. I don't think that. I mean, I think that.
Magnum
maybe
TA.
we're all getting Magnum TA. I think that we could be getting hung up on the idea of Hall of Fame worthy, but I don't think it's going to be an indie star. I think it's going to be a former WWE star, because I don't think indie star is enough to say Hall of Fame worthy unless you're talking about Dave Meltzer's Hall of Fame, which, as we said before. But I got a few ideas I was going to throw out there, see what you guys think.
I don't know.
I think that Carlito had said that he came back for Royal Rumble and Raw and was really hoping to catch a contract with WWE, but did not. And he did say in an interview he's open to working with AEW. So I think that's a possibility. I think that Ryback has been saying ever since AEW came into play.
God, no.
I'm just saying, he's been talking about making a return for quite some time, and we know that's not WWE.
Talk about
Big Guy.
Being a general fucking asshole.
He said big. Big Show said it's going to be a big person. This is big. This is huge. They keep saying, what was his name? The big guy.
Big sack of shit. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
he was the big guy.
That injures people.
Yes, he's
And
terrible. But do you think Tony Khan gives a shit about that?
As a person, he's pretty I know he's trying not to do this, but his social media, his commentary, his interviews. No,
yes,
I don't even want to entertain that bullshit. No.
Yeah, he's garbage. But do you think Tony gives a shit about whether they're garbage or not? Because I don't. But I think it's a possibility.
I'm going to stop you there. Tony does have opinions because obviously, we didn't talk about it, but that bogus like wrestling charity show that Joey Ryan was supposedly doing and put himself on. Yeah, Tony was very vocal about it, but
Well, yeah.
you know, that shocked me because I was like, oh, okay.
But he supports Jericho.
I know.
So I'm saying he has his line, and I think that's where the line is. There was no speaking out against Ryback, so he's got no reason to be concerned about it.
Well,
If Jericho says all the crazy shit he says,
well, it's not just speaking out. It's just a lot of people know he's an ass. You know.
I don't think Tony gives a shit if someone's an asshole or a piece of shit. He cares if they are sexually abusive, and I'm not saying it's a horrible line to have, but Joey Ryan is a specific case.
Yeah, no, but does he want to backstage? Because I'm sure people there who's like, oh man, I don't want, he's an asshole. I don't want to deal with this shit. Does he want an unhappy backstage? I mean, no, because they're like a family and they like to shove that down our throats.
Don't think that's a problem personally. I mean, I keep going back to Jericho. People talk very highly of Jericho, and he is not a good human being so far as we can tell, as far as his Twitter goes. I listened to his podcast the other day from the one he did about the Cecil Hotel. Mm-hmm. And my God, did he really go out of his way to really endorse some really shitty concepts about what happened over there.
Ooh,
they were definitely disproved. They were disproved completely by the documentary and talked about, and they hit the ground in all those, and he was still perpetuating the bullshit from the internet sleuths. So
when did he do that? Recently?
It was a couple weeks ago, whatever. But
I'm
either way,
I love that.
Well, Just in Time says he's seen names from Kurt Angle to Batista to Christian. I understand the Christian one because he wants to get back into wrestling.
Kurt Angle be interesting, but
so I do think that with the biggest scoop and the big guy, I think that we are looking a little bit by size potentially. So Big Cass could be one. I don't think he had a Hall of Fame career though. I think the big guy Ryback is very possible. I also think it doesn't not make sense for Tony Khan, who's obsessed with the Attitude Era. He could bring back RVD. He's obsessed with ECW. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I don't know. I do think that the idea of the conversation is interesting. Here's where I draw the line, though. Here's where I stop spinning wheels about it. Does it fucking matter? Is my problem. Who have they brought in that you said, oh my God, I'm so glad AEW is around for this person to shine the way they're shining? Is Moxley in a better spot than he was when he came over? Former champion, also former world champion. Arguably having, personally, not my favorite matches of his career. I understand some people love him. You have Sting over there, who's just beating the shit out of a lot of hot young talent under the guise that it's for the behalf of Darby to put him over, but it's not putting Darby over, it's putting Sting over, if you ask me, from what I'm seeing. Who do you have? Jericho ruining his legacy? You have Miro in a video game wedding scenario? Like, Sean Spears disappears, comes back for a forced 4 horsemen storyline that's transparent and lame. I don't see anyone signing over and then being like, oh my God, this is the star power that they deserve to have that they didn't have. The closest we have is Brody Lee. And during his lifetime and career time there was relatively mid-card, and I think there was a bigger plan for him long term, and I think unfortunately we didn't get that. But there was a lot of growing pains on that side as well. So I don't know that the idea of, hey, we're going to introduce another Hall of Fame talent, another 30 plus years in the business talent potentially, to be exciting news other than, I guess we'll just see what they do with whoever they get. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but look at Ricky Starks. Okay?
Yeah.
That he's the future, and I think now people are buying into it, which is great. But I don't know, do we need another person who's been around? No.
Producer lady just brought up a good point.
You know?
She said, what about Jim Cornette? Think about that heat, brother. You want to get some heat? What if you think J.J. Dillon and Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson should be managing the new 4 Horsemen? Imagine you throw in Jim Cornette too. Now you have 4 Horsemen managers for the 4 Horsemen members.
Oh my!
This is incredible.
You know how many people on the roster he hates, and and they hate him.
But
Oh
think
my
about
God,
the
that's
heat,
like
brother.
Well, it's not even heat. No, you got the mud show, talent of Janela, and then you got, Cole Cabana, who's not funny, apparently, according to, Horny. Guy's not funny at all, whatever.
Also, according to people who like good jokes.
Yeah, no.
But
I don't know.
All right.
If they sign Cornette, it's just going to successfully make Marsh like Joey Janela as he beats him to death in the middle of the ring.
Yeah,
be so good. Be so good.
that's gonna happen. I think
Although
he's actually,
Janela big
think
legged me on
Janela's-
Twitter, so I'm over him now. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Well, I don't know, but I think Janela's. Yeah, no, I think he's offered him to go to spring break. He's offered a match with him, but
Yeah.
I just think it's another person because when he got canned at NWA, I'm just thinking, God, it's another one of these old farts that you have to watch what they say.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. Justin says, major question is Paul White just talking about himself? That'd be a twist.
No.
That'd be a twist. So, I don't know. Anything you guys want to
Look
say
at you,
on
Big
that?
Show, just showing personality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big one. It's me.
It's me!
This is what I say to my wife. It's a big one. Keep going.
Anything else you guys want to say about this show? Because honestly, I'm ready to move on to NXT. There's nothing else I had to say about AEW.
Well, there's like two things off of it.
Go ahead.
I want to, just two little things. The Sting thing, I don't know. That was a little weird. Ricky, I know, that was the worst slap I've ever seen in my life. I think my dead grandmother hits harder.
He looked like he slapped a guy with a little fish. It was weird.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, what the hell? But just because you oversold, you're him hitting you back. Yeah,
he got murdered.
But but it'll be a very interesting thing, that street fight.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But the women's match though, the Nyla Rose and what's her name? Ryu? Yeah. Rio. Not Rio. That's the other one.
That wasn't Riho. I'll know that.
I don't know.
No, it's Rio.
I called her yesterday. I called her like the female Okada because she came out in that coat that looked like Okada's.
I was like,
Nice.
Did she Rainmaker? Like oh my God. But there's a couple things that I got out of that match. One, I think Nyla Rose, in the last maybe 4 or 5 matches she's had, she's actually been pretty solid and showing improvement versus a Britt Baker.
yeah.
Yeah, because Britt Baker she's just there. She hasn't really improved on anything, but Nyla has, and I think that was really exciting to see that. And then I really was interested that they're going this Japanese route. I know Kenny, has involvement with the women's, side of it, but honestly, it's like, I think that they should, if they're going to use a lot of Joshi wrestlers, I think that they need to kind of educate us dumb gaijin about it. Gaijin is like foreigners about it, because honestly, why are you having all these Japanese people, have the belt, and when you're like, because everyone wants Thunder Rosa to happen. Oh, she'll have it in time, but what's up with this? But it'll be a very interesting match. But I just was really, I thought the booking of this is a little weird and interesting.
Yeah. Well, I do think that's part of their larger problem of not educating their audience on anything. I even saw that apparently, I believe it was it sentence here. I did see a lot of commentary of people online being like, if you don't know who Onita is, do the research. Oh, if you guys don't know why this is exciting, look into it. My issue is, why do I have to go do research now without them telling me who this guy is? I want to know at least enough to make me say, I want to know more. Clump, what do you think about this?
I agree with that. Like, I know who Anita is because I like horrible Japanese death matches. So I was like, oh, that's awesome. But I was also like, man, they're giving him a lot of time and they're not really saying like I get it, but I'm a nerd. Tell me more. Yeah. Like, give me a bit more. I was gonna throw to real quick what Amanda was saying about Nyla Rose and
go ahead.
Ryu. I I agree. I came into the match thinking, oh, fucking Nyla Rose is gonna win it. We know that. I was by the end of it and seeing how both were performing, I was thinking, I'm okay if either one of these people win this.
Nice.
Yeah, like I was like, this went well. This went really well. So I'm cool with Nyla Rose or Rhea winning, and I'm excited to see what happens. Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
I like even on matches when you know who's gonna win, because there's sometimes you just know where the story is going. I love when there's those moments. Like I kind of take it back to Finn Balor versus Brock Lesnar. Finn Balor came out, Royal Rumble, was not in the demon makeup, and immediately everyone in the audience went, "Oh, I guess Finn's losing this one." Just listen to the crowd. I was part of the crowd. Listen to the crowd during that match. 2 minutes in, everyone's screaming like, "Oh my God!" We lost our minds. We forgot we knew how it was going to end. So I love the idea that you watch this match going into it saying, like, there's no way it wouldn't be Nyla, and then losing yourself in that match and losing, forgetting you know how it's supposed to end. So I love that. I love that they were able to do that for you.
I want to comment on your thing about research. I think that the way, and this is maybe by Tony's weird design, but I think that he expects, if you are a super fan or a, I don't even want to say super fan too, but like the super fans, and then, you know, I'm a very avid watcher of this, that there's some level that they expect you to be very smarky and know a lot of shit.
Yes.
And so I think that that's where they fail, because it's like, you know, like people, there's a lot of people who don't know who Anita is. And there are a lot of people who are like, what the hell is deathmatch wrestling? Because I've seen that out there and I'm like, oh God, you know, I want to explain this to you. But, you know, just things like that. And I think that that's, you know, that's very paramount to, you know, with, if they want new viewers or they want to, you know, get some of the share from, you know, WWE or whatever. But I don't know. I think that they expect their people to already be, I'm really smart and I know what this is. And I think that's a dumb move.
Yeah. And I get that Tony Khan was a tape trader. Sam Roberts was a tape trader. Meltzer may or may not have traded tapes. I get that was a community that was out there.
Yeah.
But even they have to understand and recognize that it was not easy to be a tape trader. Like, you should know more than anyone that the tape trading at the time was not as widespread as you want to believe. Even if you talk to all your wrestling friends at school, most of them were probably not tape traders until you told them how to do tape trading. Then maybe you got them into it. So to expect all of this audience to know who Onita is and death matches and all of that is a bit presumptuous to me. And like I said, at this point, we've gotten so much wrestling. This is what I was saying before. I believe it was episode 1, where I mentioned that I don't know that this is all, quote, for the wrestlers, the wrestling fans. This feels like the great divide, where he's going to start doing more and more that requires so much outside of Dynamite watching that you're going to end up having to pick to watch it or not. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's just one of those things, because I heard Onita, the name sounds familiar. I saw a clip and I felt like this is something that Clump sent me one time. Not super familiar with it, and so I don't know why I should give a shit that he's the ref. And that's what's happening, right? He's the ref in that match?
Yeah, I think so. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I should care. And given this, I mean, who's the most famous person in Hell in a Cell of all time? McFoley or Undertaker, depends on how you go. When they had the which match was it? Was it Braun and Roman, where they were doing Hell in a Cell, where they were going to have McFoley be the guest referee? They still showed a video package on why you should care about that. They even had McFoley come out and cut a promo and talk about his Hell in a Cell match. They made sure that if you've never seen wrestling before yesterday, you understand why they think it's important to put McFoley into that match. And he's arguably one of the most famous people because of Hell in a Cell. He's one of the most famous wrestling personalities in the world because of Hell in a Cell. And they felt the need to describe it. So if you're saying you and your dozen tape trader friends know who Onita is, therefore you all should, and just accept it, that to me is going to be a problem.
And I think, like when, I think Deathmatch, they don't really, I don't know, like with Mox, yeah, that he, you know, kind of does that. That's his kind of thing that he likes to do. But when I think of Deathmatch, he's not one of the ones I'm like, oh, he's in that, you know, that forefront, that modern forefront. No, I think of the GCW roster. So I mean, I don't know. It's just really, it's very interesting. But again, they want us to be, if you're gonna watch this stuff, you gotta be a little bit smart, and you need to know. And if you don't know, oh, you shouldn't be asking, because you should know. You're not that good of a fan. You're not a fan then if you don't know. And I don't like that narrative.
Yeah, that's a weird gatekeeping
Really
I don't need. So, anything else happening in AEW you guys want to cover?
No, but I will say that the Road to Revolution, or whatever they called it, that they aired after AEW, was pretty damn good.
Was it?
I really enjoyed that.
Did they
That's probably
put
the
that on
better ones.
TNT?
Yeah. It was on last night after.
That's cool.
But it was good.
I knew it
It
was
was
on
really
after. I didn't know if it was on the TV show or if it was on their YouTube. But
No, I
cool.
don't know if it was on the YouTube, but they did it on TNT last night, and I thought that was kind of cool.
yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Well
Clump, anything in AEW that you're missing?
No, I feel pretty good.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I'm glad that Justin was saying that it felt like a real go-home show, which, when you really think about it, a match that has a celebrity match that has Tully making his return, which I hear was fine. I only saw one move he did, so I don't know how involved he was in the match, but you had a lot of big moments and a lot of big things for a go-home. A lot of go-homes lead into big. This had big leading into, so kind of nice, kind of cool. Again, I didn't watch it because...
Yeah. And a testament to, I want to say, speaking of Tully, FTR, they made Luchasaurus look like $1 million.
Well, that's cool.
He's not a good wrestler. So
That's
shout out to FTR.
Hell yeah. All right. Let's talk NXT if you guys are into it.
Let's do
Yeah.
this.
If you just put NXT up, we'll start with UK and go into NXT. It's not a big deal. Why do you have both logos? Yeah, well, so what the fuck? Oh my god.
Just asking.
God! This is why we're episode 1.
Grim Reaper's in the chat.
Uh-oh.
Grim Reaper's in the chat? Oh god, Grim Reaper showed up. Grim Reaper, you have to save me.
Hey.
Thank you. Oh, what?
The hell?
What? What'd I say? All right, I'm back.
NXT.
NXT. All right, guys. Did anybody watch NXT UK? I know I didn't ask you guys to, but I'm wondering if you happen to, because we did have Kaylee Ray against Miko Santamora. Fuck. I said her name wrong, I'm
No.
sure of it.
I'm waiting for Peacock. What day is Peacock happening?
You and the peacock.
Satomora. Yeah, I'm waiting for Peacock. I don't know if that's going to help or not, but so Kaylee Ray had a match with Mahiko. I believe is it March 18th? I believe it's just before Fastlane, like days before Fastlane. Clump, did you get to see any of NXT UK?
No.
Totally fine. I did want to say Kaylee Ray versus Mahiko Satomura was fantastic. I personally, as a avid eater of crow, have not been a big fan of Kaylee Ray in general. Most of her matches leave something to be desired for me. I usually don't feel like I'm that invested or believing, but I do feel that Mahiko, whatever it was, really got Kaylee to step up in a way that I think that her friends and true fans knew, because I do think that, I mean, she's got big shoes to fill. She followed in the steps of Rhea Ripley and Toni Storm as NXT UK champions. So you have a lot to live up to, I feel like, and to me, she was coming up a bit short, but Rhea and Toni had nothing but incredible things to say about Kaylee, and I'm like, what am I missing? I'm missing something. I felt like something was wrong with me. You know what I mean? This match, I felt like, really filled in those gaps of what she can bring to the table, how smart she is in the ring, and how she can make something that could otherwise not look so believable come off as super believable. She did a lot of submissions with her legs to like Mahiko's head. I was like, that's awesome for someone who has small arms to do that, because a lot of times you'll see like chokeholds and headlocks and stuff, and you're like, your arms are so fucking scrawny. Like, why couldn't they just break the hold? You have no muscle, right?
T-Rex arms. Don't make
I'm
fun
not.
of T-Rex arms.
but I am saying she did a lot that used her arms and her legs together, which was fucking tremendous and really got me going. Me and producer were screaming at the TV, trying to figure out who's going to win this one. At the end of the day, holding strong with a record-breaking 551 days as of today, Kaylee Ray did hold on and keep the title. I suggest checking out this match if you haven't seen it. There was a match in the beginning, Ilya Dragunov against, it looked like, you guys remember Roger Rabbit?
Roger Rabbit, like the
The movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
Remember at the end when Christopher Lloyd had that stuff kind of dropped on him and they took the hat off and he had that tuft of hair and his eyes got buggy?
Mm-hmm.
Whoever Ilya was fighting looked like that. It was
Oh my!
crazy.
Oh
I was
my.
like, this
That-
dude's insane.
I need to know who that is now.
I don't know, but it was crazy. And it was an amazing match. Really good match. There was a cool segment with Noam Dar and Tyler Bate. Tyler Bate's doing this weird Big Lebowski Zen kind of a thing where he's wearing a rug and slippers. So, I don't know. It was a really cool show. Really neat. I like what they're doing with stuff. I just want to throw it out there. Kaylee Ray versus Maiko's definitely something that you ought to watch. Oh, Justin said it was Sam Gradwell, he believes. And Fabtina says the 21st is when Peacock shows up. So,
Yay! Well, Peacock does. Just a FYI, right now they're slowly loading things in. Right
Yeah.
now, under the sports category, if you don't have Peacock or you just got Peacock, if you go, there are actually those there's some of those documentary type of things, like there's a WrestleMania one, and there's
there's a few. And
yeah,
there's, I
there's
think
those
Stone Cold's
documentaries.
podcast.
yeah. So
There's a
those
few.
are
There's
those
like
are
6.
coming up. Yeah, there's like 6 or actually no, I think there was 8 today.
Okay.
Because I was
Okay.
hoping that NXT was on there, so but it was not. Because I definitely did miss at least one match, but I saw it. I just don't know if I missed another match.
Okay. Grim Reaper's in the chat. He says, I know that Martian producer love NXT UK, but I watch it only if there's a big time match, like how people watch UFC when Conor McGregor is on. And producer lady's the one who never misses it. I watch it when I get to, or when I feel like it, I guess. I don't always feel like it, but it's fantastic whenever I do. So yeah, this is one, Grim, where even if you only watch the main event, it's worth just watching the main event.
It goes by so fast. It's so short.
Yeah, it's not a long show. Let me see. What was I about to say something about? What were you just saying, Amanda?
Gradwell.
Oh, I was
You're talking about the Peacock deal. You're talking about NXT.
Oh yeah, Peacock.
Oh, real quick, with the Peacock deal in NXT, there are rumors rumors about NXT and its future. There is a rumor going around that I find to be unsubstantiated at this point that NXT may be moving to Tuesdays.
Yeah. I heard
If it moves to Tuesday, I don't personally see any reason to change our show format. Do you guys?
no.
We can still go on Thursday because we got to wait till Thursday anyways to talk about AEW, and we're not going to watch. We're not going to wait till Wednesday to go on to talk about Raw and SmackDown when NXT's on the night before. There's no reason to, for me, there's no reason to not just do our live recording on Tuesday. The podcast drops on Wednesday anyways, and then we'll talk on Thursday about Wednesday and Tuesday, Wednesday. Does that
The
sound
only
fine with you
bad
guys?
part, yeah,
Go
no
ahead.
problem. But the bad part is you're probably going to see a better product. So like AEW is going to have some big shoes to fill, and not
Yeah.
suck.
I think they'll get complacent quick, but that's my theory. Either way, it's unsubstantiated. I just want to know your guys' take on it and say it on the show live that I personally don't see a reason for us to change our format at all, because it's not like everyone's tuning in to our live showing every time to make sure. It's a few people, and the people who do, I feel like, may or may not jump into NXT later anyways. If we're not talking about till Thursday anyhow, what does it matter? So what say you, Clump? You in or you out?
I'm good. I'm cool with the standard format.
Yeah. I mean, hey, gives you an extra data to catch up.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Guys, let's talk NXT. NXT.
Ooh.
Let me see. The fuck am I looking at here? This doesn't seem to be the right order. What's going on? Guys, how you doing? How you feeling?
Did you guys
About-
like NXT this week?
Yeah, did you like NXT, Amanda?
It was not bad. It was.
Yeah,
I was
actually,
pretty happy. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Very much enjoyed it.
I thought it was dope, man. I thought it was so good. Let's see. What did it open up with? I feel like it opened up with Roderick Strong, right?
Yeah.
Coming out, talking some shit. Getting Balor to come out saying, you just talking shit. And then he goes, I'll face Adam Cole, baby, next weekday, baby, Wednesday day.
I have to say,
Go ahead.
I really like Roderick Strong in the ring. I can't stand him on the mic.
Well,
Exactly.
his hurdle for quite some time. It's been his hurdle.
It's not. He just comes off just. I don't know what it is. He comes off like an angry teenager. Like I'm just like. Oh,
There's entitlement. Yeah, behind his voice.
One, his voice is very high. His voice is very high.
Poor Roddy. Oh gosh.
No, fantastic in the ring, and we can't all control that. My voice goes high at times, but I hear him, I'm like, oh,
It's all
nails
the
on the
time.
chalk.
Yeah.
Let's see. Justin Time does say, I don't know about NXT, but even though it was good, something about it just felt kind of off. And I wonder if because this one was a story-heavy episode, it felt like a lot of intertwining stuff that happened to have matches in it, where a lot of times their show is very match-heavy that happens to have storyline happen from time to time. So this one felt like a bit well-threaded to me in that regard. We had Danny Birch and Oni Lorcan versus Tommaso Champa and Timothy Thatcher. On the way to the ring, Champa sees Thatcher talking to a member of Imperium. Fast forward a little bit, Thatcher gets distracted by Imperium at the top of the ramp, loses the match. Fast forward a little bit more. I forget her name. I think it's Mackenzie comes over to ask Thatcher, what the fuck's his deal? She's like, what's your fucking problem, bro? And Thatcher's all like, hey, bitch, he says. No. And he said, and Imperium's reminding me of my past. And Ciampa says, that's what it is, his past. Deal with it. Suck it up, buttercup. And then they leave. What do you think about Imperium entwining with the Thatcher story here? Do you think we're going to get Imperium against Ciampa and Thatcher? Or do we think we're going to get an absorption of Imperium with Thatcher and potentially even Killian Dane? Because if you remember last week, Alexander Wolf was asking Killian Dane what the fuck happened to him. He goes, hey, when did you bitch up, dude? You're like a little weasel now. What the fuck's wrong with you? You used to be a beast.
He didn't say that.
He said it kind of like that. He goes, what's up, dude?
That.
Yeah, he 100% was like, dude, what the fuck's your little bitch-ass little bitch? It was crazy.
Okay.
It was crazy. He was talking mad shit. He put doilies on Killian Dane's necklaces. It was crazy. Either way, Alexander Wolf telling Killian Dane he ain't shit he used to be. You had Imperium telling Thatcher, we're watching you. Where do you think this leads? I'll start with Amanda.
I really think that unless you're gonna, with talking about Thatcher's past, unless they're gonna put the boys back together and give me ring comp, that ain't gonna happen. So, but I really think that it's gonna be Imperium versus Thatcher and Ciampa, because for some reason those two work together really well, and I'm liking that they're giving Ciampa something different to do, unlike Gargano. I could have done without that section, the stuff with the way this week. I could have done without, but I'm thinking that that's where we're going. Of you're going to see those two together, and I think that's where it's going to lay. And I think with Ciampa, I think if it's where I'm thinking it might go, is I think that maybe he's going to try to get Thatcher to kind of open up with, putting more things into his arsenal instead of just really relying on what he does best. But that's what Thatcher is. I mean, that's catch wrestling at its, its finest. And
Thatcher's Thatch can.
I enjoy it, but I know a lot of people don't. So,
well, they're wrong. Justin does say that they're teasing the breakup of Ciampa and Thatcher already. Walter did put up a picture of himself, Thatcher, and Bartel on Twitter. I appreciate Justin's infinite ability to get the names right every time. Clump, what do you think of all this?
I would like to see. I like Thatcher and Champa together just so much, but
Yeah.
I could see Thatcher and Imperium. He fits them. Just
That's true.
and the idea of Imperium pulling people in to make themselves a just stronger force. You know, anything to just see more of Imperium. Hell yeah! Like last week when Alexander Wolf came out and talked to Killing Dean, I was like, "Oh, you're around still!" Like it's good. So I like that idea. Um, it made a match where I was just disappointed become something where I was like, okay, I'm cool with this.
Gotcha. Yeah. I don't think the match was bad by any means, but I do hear
No.
what you're saying. I really like what you're saying about the idea of Thatcher actually fits in really well with the Imperium concept. What about this? This just occurred to me right now. It just happened. My mind just did this. Follow me on this one. In a world where Gargano's considered Mr. Wrestling and Adam Cole's the best they got, and you have someone like a Finn Balor taking everyone to the mat and making them do their own style of catch wrestling, and you have Thatcher and Champa, because Champa went a lot further away from the flips than when he started, because when he was Gargano, they were doing that shit. Do you think we could end up with a NXT Imperium kind of war of styles, where how Ring Comp and Imperium have been about the ring is their sacred ground, and they want to bring classics back to the wrestling, as it were? Do you think we can get to a point where we have sort of an NWO feel with Imperium, of them recruiting a larger group of people who mat wrestle and bring back like a real classic style against all these flippy indie motherfuckers?
I see that.
All right, good. I'm
It's
glad
very
we
possible.
settled that. We settled it. Perfect.
It's
Plum?
very possible. But I also think now too that the flippy shit
Yep.
is slowly going away. I don't know
Yeah,
if you guys see it. I see it.
Well, I see it
But-
with Balor. Balor's not about that. He doesn't even do his dive off the top anymore. He used to dive out of the ring all the time. Now he was even on After the Bell with Corey Graves, and I suggest listening to that podcast. It's remarkable how well he's able to criticize things in the WWE while being a part of the WWE, while also lifting up those same talents, and it's something I strive to do, I think. So I do suggest listening to it, but he did an interview with Balor recently, and in that Balor said that he wanted to get away from what he was seeing in NXT and the indies of the flips, the dives, the super kicks, and just really get to sticking people in the mat and doing old classic catch wrestling, essentially. So it was a thought he had. It was a deliberate thing. So for sure.
Yeah, no, I see that coming back, because honestly, like, a lot of the guys who do the flippy stuff, they're changing it up because they know that this stuff it shortens your career. So unless you're someone who is like, I don't know, not human, like Ricochet, that, but no one's like Ricochet. I mean,
Yeah.
the closest thing probably would be like maybe Rey Mysterio, but even then,
Yeah.
No.
One
So.
and only. Pew pew pew. One and only.
Nailed it.
Killed it. Sorry, Amanda. You brought it up. You said it.
I know, I did.
quit.
You did that. That was on
Yeah,
you.
I did.
Where are you
I
going? Fab Tina brings up a good point. Makes me think of LA Knight. No flippy floppy. We can talk about that real quick too. Unless there's something else you want to say about Imperium in this match, Clump.
Well, to the idea that you guys talked about, like
Go ahead.
with Balor and moving away from flippy ship, and I think I'm liking more and more what we're seeing. And when I think about what I've liked with NXT, it's never been the ridiculously athletic flippy people. It's been that it felt like a return to form where this made sense. If we're gonna
Yeah.
do something that is really acrobatic, there's a reason behind it, and it's smooth, and we're seeing that more and more evolve away from like, okay, you've done too many dives to the outside, boss, we're removing that, so
Yeah.
I like that, and it's made NXT just really interesting to me. The other thing I think I want to see them move away from is like, let's make finishers have some power again, but that's me.
Yes. That's my biggest problem with Adam Cole since the beginning is I've never seen him put away one person with one last shot.
Nope.
So every time he's done it once and they kick out, he's always like, what? And I was like, what are you talking about, dude? It's the worst finish in the business. You've never won with it. So, yeah.
You can't win on a super kick.
And that's just a teabag to the back of the head. Grim Reaper says, Ricochet, the most underutilized talent of 2020 per Uncle Dave. That's true. He did win that one. Out of all the things that WWE won in the Observer Awards, most underrated, I think, is what it was. Not even underutilized was Ricochet.
It's true.
It's hard to argue. He's so good. He's so good, so natural. But I think he has his struggles, and I think he'll get there. I think we will get there with Ricochet.
That's why he should have stayed in NXT. He needs to have time with a microphone.
That's why NXT failed him. But
let's
talk. What?
I don't know. I don't know. I think it was, this guy is amazing. Let's push him. Yeah. And that was the wrong move to do.
Yes.
That's all I was thought.
I think he's one of the people that the system failed and doesn't fail everybody. But I do think that he went in there really strong in one way. They pushed him with that way, got eyes on him and moved him out. And I think that the system really should have said, hey, you're actually really weak at this other thing. Let's focus on that. Let's hyper focus on that, because if you can fail anywhere and it won't affect your career long term, it's NXT. But instead they were highlighting his strengths, which is a good booking decision, I suppose, but a bad, what do you call it? Developmental. So, so I agree with that. But let's see. Let's talk. We got Ember Moon versus Aaliyah. I'm kind of over Robert Stone in general. There's nothing about him that I'm enjoying. I think he's distracting. He's out of it. I think he's overly cartoonish.
When did he get back into being good?
Did I say he was good? I think it's just over him. I think I was giving him a chance for a minute. I was going to give him a chance, but then I'm over giving him a chance even. Don't do that.
Don't give him I've been done for a long time. He's not done anything where you've not made up for the drunken idiot throwing up shit, which I'm done.
But the last couple times we saw him, he was just on the side of the ring and didn't do much. And I was like, okay. Now they brought back Shotzi into the picture and they're like, let's make him overly cartoonish again. I'm like, okay, I'm out. If you can't just sit down and shut up, I don't want any part of it. But otherwise than that, Aaliyah and Ember, they weren't terrible together. They seemed to be kind of missing stuff here and there, but I think that this is the place to do that. And I think that Ember and Aaliyah could definitely use more ring time, and I think that they're both incredible talents waiting to get it all to click. Anything? No? Move on? We can move on.
I think I mean Ember, yes. Aaliyah, yeah. We didn't need Robert Stone.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Pluck Robert Stone out of that equation, and it would have been a lot more interesting to watch. Let's see.
That was one that Hulu did not have on. Actually, Hulu skipped 3 matches this week.
Well, that's okay.
I think because they wanted to make sure we saw the way. So that was an epic fail.
It is an epic fail. What do you talk about that real quick before we get on to the next segment? Although Justin says Ember is great, but Aaliyah needs some more time. She's still super green, and it felt like Ember had to lower herself to compensate for Aaliyah. Here's the weird bit. Aaliyah's been in NXT. Her class that she came in with was Montez Ford and Apollo Crews, the Iconics. She came in with them. She was part of that same signing group. So she's been there like 5-6 years, dude. I don't know. I don't know how long we say someone's green. I mean, I hear you. I hear you for sure. I just am a little surprised that that's what we're all kind of still saying. Let me see. I feel like I've seen Aaliyah do well before, but I don't remember with who. Fabitina says, and I agree with that too. I think that I remember seeing Aaliyah like 2 years ago before NXT was even on USA. Maybe it was more than that, and thinking, oh, this girl's got some promise. She could do something, and I just didn't see her for a long fucking time. Maybe it was the match she had with Xia Li where she got her nose broke. That was pretty bitchin'. Let's talk about the way, though. Let's talk about that. Let's get that out of the way. Oh!
Fuck you, Organo.
Just screams boom. Grim Reaper says Aaliyah was on the Breaking Ground special. Oh, fuck. That's a good point. Grim Reaper says Aaliyah was on the Breaking Ground special. That's how long she's been here. That was even like Baron Corbin and stuff.
Holy crap!
Mandy Sonia, that was fucking at least 6 years ago.
Wow.
All right. Well, I mean,
So
I don't know.
She's had a longer tenure than what's her face?
Yes,
Eva
literally
Marie.
everybody in NXT. Yes.
Well, Eva Marie. I mean, damn.
For sure.
Yeah, wow.
For sure. Yeah. So that's a bit weird. It's a bit crazy. I don't know. I still think there's so much potential there, but I mean, maybe there's
That's
just
like Dawkins time.
I know, man, and I don't. Well, all right. Let's get the way out of the way. Boom. What'd you guys think about this dozen segments of Gargano's comedy? I said it before. I'll say it again. The Way is the inner circle of NXT.
Yes.
It is bringing down really good talent and making everybody try to be as funny as the unfunniest person in the fucking group. The only person I see really shining out of all of this is Candice LeRae.
Yeah.
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 She's
Like-
the only one where I'm all like, oh, she's good. But everyone else,
Yeah,
I'm all
she's
like,
good.
God, stop.
I wasn't too upset with Austin. Like I was like, okay,
Okay. I think you said the old lady.
yeah. Well, I wasn't too upset with Austin. Like I was like, okay, you're okay at this. Indy after the first like Dexter Loomis's hot joke, it just got
Yes.
old and
Yeah.
like okay, I get it. You wanna ride that. I got that. I got you, boss. But
And I'll give you this. I think the first like 2 or 3 I was in, and then it got
Yeah.
to the point where I was like, okay, that's enough.
I mean, with the whole "don't therapy on me," I was like, I know Marsh is gonna like this.
No, I did not.
Damn it!
Oh my God. I was so fucking
therapy on you.
furious.
That seemed like you.
No, he threw a shit in my mouth on that one, dude.
That doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. But still, it's as Gargano as I can get. Dude, it was terrible.
It was very
I don't know
whiny.
if Gargano's ever told a joke that's ever made anybody laugh.
No, I don't think so.
Maybe his
I
wife.
giggled.
Oh my God.
I think his wife laughs just because she has to, because that's his wife. But
Well, okay.
I
Okay.
mean,
But
I don't know.
was there anything redeeming about any of these therapy sessions they showed?
No, not
Okay.
at all.
I didn't think so. No.
No,
Okay, so
I'm
let's move
like
on.
Hulu.
Okay.
Why did you like
Oh my God, Hulu
ignore? Yeah, they kept every bit. And
You
that's
gotta
why I
watch
didn't get
this.
three matches. Yeah, and I
Can't
didn't get
miss
3 matches.
this.
And there was one of the 3 that I did not get that I'm like, holy crap, I fucking loved it. But you know,
Oh my God. Yeah,
Waiting for
watching The
Peacock.
Way on TV, I feel like Clockwork Orange.
really?
They're like taping your eyes open.
Yeah, I feel like they're keeping my eyeballs open with toothpicks, and I'm like, stop!
You will like them.
Yeah. But, all right, well, then we'll move on. If nobody has a redeeming thing to say about any of it, other than Candice LeRae doesn't seem to belong because she's better than all of it, we'll move on. We did have a WWE Tag Team Championship match with the women, Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler against Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai. And motherfucking Adam Pearce, tag team losing son of a bitch, comes out there with Sean Bennett, a Raw referee, to call the match on the not tagged in competitor and hand the titles back over to Nia and Shayna. Fucking NXT screw job if I've ever seen one.
Oh boy.
Aja Smith gets her fucking lights knocked out. Good night, Aja. And then, hello, Sean Bennett from Raw. Fuck out of here, Sean. Get out of here. You got no business here. I know he's friends with Finn Balor. Maybe that's why he's there. He said he was there to give Adam Pearce company. I don't know why Adam Pearce is even over there. What are you doing, lifting weights to lose another tag team match, you son of a bitch? Pointless aggression. I'm just kidding. It was a really good match. I did not understand the ending at all, though. I don't know why it had to have Adam Pearce and
I was like,
Bennett.
what?
Do you think, because this is the only thing I could piece together, is it possible we're going to get a triple threat at Fastlane? Nia, Shayna, Raquel, Dakota, and Lana and Naomi, because Lana and Naomi still have a number 1 contender spot over there on Raw. That's all I could piece together with it, other than it being a good match with a really weird ending. I'll start with Amanda, and then we'll go to Clump. Amanda, what do you think?
Yeah, that ending, I was like, what the heck? Like, I had to actually rewind it. I'm like, wait, did I just hear and see what I thought? Because I'm like, what the hell? So I really think, now that you bring it up, yeah, I think that is going to be at Fastlane, because there's no, like, what the hell is like, why are all these people here that don't necessarily have to be here? Because I knew that the belt obviously wasn't going to change, but I didn't know it was not going to change in this fashion. So yeah, it's got to be saved for pay-per-view. But overall it was good, but just the ending was like, ugh.
Yeah. Like,
Oh fuck.
oh fuck.
Oh god. This just in.
You pooped
This
yourself.
just in. As we're talking about
Totally
this, I
pooped
couldn't have
yourself.
timed this better if I was writing it my fucking self.
You're watching.
This dropped.
shit himself.
Bruce Pritchard, I know you're watching. Pritchard's always watching. This just dropped
What?
on WWE.com for Fastlane, Sunday, March 21st. WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax versus Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, looking to dethrone the tag champions. We are not going for a triple threat with Raquel and Dakota. We are going for, at the very least, if nothing else, a triple threat with Sasha and Bianca as well. But right now it's a 1-on-1 or a 2-on-2, tag on tag. Shayna, Nia, Sasha, Bianca. Are you fucking kidding me?
Maybe it'll go on Raw. And it'll be on
It's
Raw.
not. It's already on Fastlane. They already said it's on Fastlane.
No. I'm saying that triple threat. Maybe it'll be on Raw.
Come on.
Gotta take it to
what?
Adam Pearce's turf. I don't know.
I know. I'm sorry, Amanda. I don't mean to yell at you, Amanda. I apologize.
No. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, shit. Like, but to be fair, like, if that's what they're gonna do with, I mean, if they're gonna put it on an NXT tag team, then that's kind of, I would think, one of the safer bets to do it. Just do it on one of the programs, because it's like, them as a team, is that worthy of having a pay-per-view?
Yeah, you would think. Or, I mean, I wouldn't even be mad if the Kickoff had the tag team championships and it had Shayna, Nia, Dakota, Raquel, and Naomi and Lana, and there was a title change. That wouldn't bother me at all. I would, because you got to have good matches on the Kickoff. And you know what? For the past number of pay-per-views, they've had great matches on the Kickoff. So it wouldn't even bother me if it was, like, seen that way. But to put Shayna and Nia against Sasha and Bianca, I've been saying it for a fucking month. They can't keep being best friends and me give a shit about their match at Mania. Because right now your story is only that it's going to be a good match because it's going to be a good match because they're both good athletes. That doesn't make me care. And I want more than that. Justin says, yay, more frenemies nonsense. Yeah, and I apologize to shit on it a little bit. It's clearly going to be a decent match. But what the fuck for? So you can have to... Yeah, so what Sasha and Bianca win the tag team titles. Then what? You have two tag team champions go up against in a singles match at Mania, and now you have the tag titles not defended. You're going to have them in two matches where they defend the titles and then fight each other. I don't give a shit about any of that. Stop. Break them up. They got to stop being friends now. And if this is a stupid fucking match to get them to butt heads so it moves the story along, not into it. Not here for that. That's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, there's better ways
Man.
to do that.
Any other way to do that. I don't know. I apologize for my pointless aggression. 20% off t-shirts right now. ProWrestlingTees.com. But that was my whole thing. I was like, if they go to this triple threat, that'd be great. But now that announcement came out, well, fuck it. So now not only was it a weird ending, but it's also seemingly for no fucking point. So
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. Let's move on.
Turd.
Clump. Yeah, it's a turd. So after that, we had L.A. Knight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to me. Yeah.
Every part of Eli Drake, we're going to go with 3 syllables. That's all we need. 3 syllables.
Yes.
Just give me 3 syllables.
That's all I need. L.A. Knight. Yeah. Talk
It was a
to
damn
me.
good promo.
Yeah.
It was a damn good
Go ahead.
promo. It was a good segment. The only thing I hated about it was the shitty watch he was wearing, but that's just because I'm me.
What kind of watch did he have on?
He had a fucking $50 diesel because he's...
That's funny.
Yeah. No,
That's how he rolls. You know?
It's a giant ass watch because he's a big guy, and I get that. There's other big watches to wear, but I'm looking at it and I'm like, that's so fucking big. What is it? And I'm sitting there like watching it. I'm focusing on that, and I'm like, oh, I know what that is. Oh, you bastard.
That's funny. That's funny.
Can't
Just in
someone
time
give him a
says it
Panerai or
best.
something?
That you see those shoes? Shoes of a champion. You see that watch? Shoes of a champion. You see this jacket?
Yes.
Shoes of a champion. Yeah.
Yeah.
You see that watch? Watch of a
Yeah.
Maxinista.
Watch of a barista, really.
So I guess the point of it is that don't wear a shitty big watch.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
And
That's what
I'm
it
gonna
that's
watch
my
him, like,
takeaway. And I guess
takeaway.
I don't know. My other takeaway would be also if you're gonna like go and slap somebody, don't wear slip-on shoes.
Yeah, no slips.
Yeah.
Now,
no slip-on
I'm going to
shoes,
ask you
no
this.
shitty big watches.
This
Well,
promo I
yeah.
thought was fucking fantastic. Yeah.
Can I,
I
throw
thought it
something
was-
out real quick to this?
Go ahead, do it.
Before you jump in. Not only that, but and Marsh can attest to this. You wear a watch. I'll find out what it is. I'll back
gonna
myself
find out.
up. We had this happen.
Yep.
He's not Corbin, okay?
No, he's not Corbin. But Bailey was wearing a watch that I was like,
Bailey was
this-
wearing an amazing watch.
Yeah, and so I sent the picture to Clump, and I was like, Clump, you do Clump.
What is it? It's a Seiko
What is this
Poke.
watch?
It's a fantastic watch.
Have you
Yep,
seen,
figured it out.
speaking of watches, this is off topic. Have you seen the one that some watchmaker made for Sonata in Japan? It was a limited edition. It was like, I think over $350. I think. I'll have to show you it.
Send
I'm
that to
interested to
Crybaby
see.
Clump on Twitter so he can see that direct. Guys, let's talk about this a little bit. The promo I thought was awesome. I loved that he said he's not here to do flips. He's not here to do kicks. He's not here to show, to be flashy. He's here to win matches. I love the old school, the last of a dying breed. Yeah.
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 I love it. He's the last of a dying breed. I saw some dumbass online. I have no idea who it was, but they said something. They retweeted it and they said, well, at least if his gimmick is that he's not good at wrestling, at least he's saying it now. So when people see him not be good at wrestling, it's part of his gimmick. And I was like, you dumbass. That
They've
you
never
think by
seen-
someone saying I'm not going to flip means that they're not good at wrestling tells me you have no idea what good wrestling even looks like. Yeah.
Oh
That
my
means you're an
God.
Observer fan. Yeah.
So whoever said this, then you're telling
Yeah.
me like Zack Sabre Jr. is a shitty wrestler because he doesn't flip at all.
Well, I don't know if he flips
Wow.
or not. I know that Zack Sabre Jr.
No, he does not. I know.
got the Daniel Bryan award because he's better at Daniel Bryan than Daniel Bryan is. So I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. And that's what I mean. Whoever said it, they don't understand wrestling at all. But I love that this promo was, I'm the last of a dying breed. I'm an old school cat, and I'm here to make money, get that winner's purse. I wish he'd
Yeah.
said that. I wish he talked about the winner's purse.
Yeah.
But here's where the big butt comes in. He cuts this badass promo. Then Bronson Reed comes out to have a match with Cameron Grimes.
The haircut you hate.
Bronson Reed's haircut I'm not a fan of, but I love Bronson Reed. I just
Yeah, it's a little weird.
pick a haircut. Pick a haircut. But he comes out, does his thing. They're staring each other down. Then at the end of the match, LA Knight comes running back out. Effectively costs Bronson Reed the match. And now we're stuck in a position where that means we're going to have Bronson Reed versus LA Knight sooner than later. And I'd rather that be later than sooner. Because quite honestly, I think one of them should have a title and the other one should be going up against them because I'd like there to be stakes in the line. I'd like it to feel like two incredible competitors coming head to head, a couple of behemoths in their own ways. But now we have an intro match, a debut match, LA Knight against Bronson Reed. I don't want either one of these guys taking a loss right now. I don't need it. Clump, what say you?
Yeah.
Then we'll go to Amanda.
I'm okay with it if it. Part of me, I can't think of somebody that I want to lose because I think both of them need wins. But I think it'd be a good match. Maybe it could lead, and it could lead to something, them coming back. If Bronson wins it, and then he keeps going, gets a title, and LA Knight's got a hell of a streak. That could be a cool coming back moment, a built-in story, or vice versa. I'm down for that.
Okay. Amanda?
That threw me for a whole curveball, because after his promo, I was kind of thinking, okay, yeah, I'm still basking. I'm still up in the ring because, that was great, that kind of mindset. And I thought maybe that we would see not this pairing, but I was thinking, well, maybe Cameron Grimes, just because of his newfound wealth and whatever. I thought that might be kind of like weird and doable, because like I don't know. I thought that's a good entryway to kind of see, because like Cameron Grimes can put like anyone over, and it's pretty awesome, especially with this new persona. So
he's a piece of
I was
shit
like,
heel.
wow.
He's a piece of shit heel. Like, Cameron Grimes could take a loss and just be like, yeah, but I'm still rich. And you go, okay, yeah.
I'm so rich. I have this money. Here you go. No, it's, I think that was that's where I was hoping it was going to go, because Cameron Grimes now, he can take losses here and there, and that's not going to hurt him. Because I think personally, a lot of people, I really personally love this gimmick now. Okay, I really do. Those videos helped it. They did.
Yeah.
Hulu, this for you, middle finger up, because you didn't give me this match. You gave me the promo, and they cut it weird, but I didn't get this match. So
that's bullshit.
Yeah, bullshit. I had to weigh. That was horrible. That's
a good point.
Because
it's a horrible trade-off.
Yeah, but that's what I was hoping. And then when he came out again, I was like, oh shit, okay. That kind of threw me for a loop, because I was thinking just like how you thought. It'd be nice if someone had a belt.
Yeah, 100%. And plus, I feel like Bronson and Eli, or Bronson LA, I feel like they're both baby faces. I feel like that you're going to have a hard time really turning LA Knight heel. And I know that right now he's still on that kind of like, we're figuring you out stage. But he's going to have to do some dastardly shit. That's why Cameron Grimes would work perfect. But against the Bronson Reed, people are cheering him. People don't want Bronson to lose right now. Matter of fact, I'd rather Bronson Reed be in a program with Gargano and Dexter Loomis and be in that little thing, and let LA Knight be away from them. You know what I mean? And let him build himself over towards that way, because I don't think it's going to take very long for people to see the star power that is LA Knight. Once they see him in the ring, they're only going to need a match or two before they go, oh yeah, this guy is here. Yeah.
And if they keep him on the mic almost like every time you see him, I think that too. And when they see a match, people are going to be, oh, I get it now. Yeah. And have that aha moment.
100%. 100%. I don't have anything else to say about this stuff.
Yeah. Oh, and the other thing I want to say is I'm really, really happy that Cameron Grimes is using that like Kid Rock wannabe song about him.
Well, that's the Josiah Williams song.
That's amazing.
Or not Josiah Williams. Is that his name? Yeah, Josiah Williams. It's his song. It's so good. And it's so good, using it as an entrance.
Yeah, it's great. It fits. And actually, one of my friends who is a huge Cameron Grimes fan was like, oh my God, you have to watch it right now. And I'm like, no, I'm watching Ricky. And she goes, that was horrible, that slap. And I go, but she was like, this man has a lot of bling on. And I was like, whoa, who is this man? Like, he's just normally, very simplistic, black trunks. And now he's got bling. He's got all this money. I think it's great. I mean, I miss a lot of having good characters in wrestling.
Yeah.
I miss that. He does it well.
He's doing great. And I think all these stories have been great stories going through. We had Breezango and Everrise. We had Legado del Fantasma come out, beat the shit out of all of them. I get it. It was fine. I don't have anything to say about it. It was what it was. I'm not interested in Everrise or Breezango at all. So the whole thing getting to a Santos Escobar promo, I felt like, to me, it was kind of like wasted time. Like, just give Santos the mic. I don't need to see these other guys for no reason. Let me see. Justin Time says in the chat, this new gimmick is going to get Grimes to the moon. To the moon. Yeah.
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 Oh, did they make him? Yeah. Did they make him a new shirt? Because I want one of those shirts like in his Titantron that's like the $100 bill with his face with the money. I'll buy that. I will buy that.
We'll see what we can do
Okay.
for you. Anything you guys want to say about Breezango, Phantasma, or Everrise before we talk about the main event?
No.
No.
I didn't get to see it. So
Good. Very good.
Breezango, the
Yeah. All right. We did have Finn Balor versus Roderick Strong. This match was fantastic. This was such a good match. I love that it's not like, because a lot of people talk about old wrestling and working a hold and targeting a body part, and we've heard that in a lot of like quote insider podcasts and stuff. What I really like about this is that he wasn't just like kicking a leg over and over again. He was working a shoulder in a lot of different ways and holding stretches and holding moves that stretch out that muscle to try and weaken it up. And I thought it was just he being Finn Balor to Roderick Strong, working the shoulder a lot, and Roderick going for high moves because he thinks that Balor's got a weak jaw. I thought it was awesome. It was such a good match. As far as the Adam Cole fallout at the end, I don't care. I'm not a fan of Adam Cole. I understand a lot of people are. They're very excited for that. That's fantastic. It's two Bullet Club leaders of the Bullet Clubs finally colliding on network TV, and it's for free, and oh my God, and okay, you guys can have it. If it's another Adam Cole match like every other Adam Cole match, then I don't give a shit. But it's exciting for people who do, and I get that. Amanda, go ahead.
Adam Cole wasn't the leader of Bullet Club.
I don't know. He was in the Bullet Club at one point. I thought he lead it.
Yeah, but that was Kenny's. That was under Kenny's lead.
Yeah.
Kenny
Club,
was
confirm or deny?
in
Club?
charge.
confirm.
No.
Okay. All right. Well, then fuck
He was
Adam
a
Cole
two-bit
even more,
player.
man.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like he's bland, so whatever. But this is the kind of match, okay? And I'm gonna use myself as an example. Uncle Dave, if he actually would watch NXT, which I don't think he does, he would basically blow his load because this is the kind of stuff he likes.
Jesus.
But because it's got the stigma that it's WWE, he won't watch it. Or he wouldn't give it a second chance at all. Because these are people that, he's seen multiple times and has given very high marks for matches. So, I did, it's one of those ones. And it was beautiful by design. But when you get like Adam Cole coming in, it's like, oh God, go away. Because I really don't think that if he moves up or whatever, he shouldn't, because I don't think he has anything that's quality that can contribute to one of the rosters. I think
he's fine in NXT. Yeah, I think he's where he ought to be. His fans are there. I don't think that what he provides is something that the main roster fans would appreciate on the level that he gets in NXT. Clump, what do you think about all this?
I'm not great at the. Well, yeah, the match is good, but I don't know. Like, I'm pumped, but
are you just still annoyed with Roddy's voice, how high it is?
Yeah, that's fact. It just feels like we're really kind of keeping this title to like 3 people,
Yeah. And it felt
so what is it
forced to
gonna?
me.
Is it? I mean, the idea of a fatal 4-way at an NXT, because I feel like that's what they're building to. Is it's going to be Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, and Finn for the title in a fatal 4-way, which I think they could pull it off, but that's complex. That's a lot. I don't know if I'm a fan of it.
Especially with Finn Balor being a lot more methodical lately, and with Adam Cole and Roddy. I mean, Kyle to a point, but really Adam Cole and Roderick have really been super 1,000 miles a minute kind of guys for a while now. It seems like having a methodical Finn Balor in there could get lost in it pretty easily too. And as your champion, you want him to be more of a focus, I would think. I just think that it feels super forced to get Adam Cole back into the title picture as quick as they have. I know a lot of people have been saying, can you imagine Balor versus Adam Cole? And I go, yeah, because I've seen every Adam Cole match before, and they're all the same, so it's easy to imagine. He doesn't do different matches. Adam Cole and Balor being the most interesting factor of it is that Balor doesn't seem to be doing other people's matches at this point. So Gargano and Adam Cole being the same match over and over and over again for extended periods of time doesn't feel like it could be a factor with a Balor who's like, I'm not doing that shit. So I'm curious from that regard. I do think it's just forced to get Adam Cole back into the title picture quickly and easily. I don't know, man. I don't know what to expect from it. I know a lot of people are super excited because next week we have Tony Storm and Io Shirai, and we have Finn Balor and Adam Cole. Those do feel like two dream matches coming up. I'm only minorly excited about that. I'm more excited about the other stuff. I'm more excited about seeing what LA Knight does. I'm more excited to see if Bronson Reed comes back for something. I'm really excited about Champa and Thatcher doing whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm super excited for Tony and Io. Really excited for that. We haven't seen them since the Mae Young Classic, and that was an incredible match. I mean, we saw them in the triple threat, but that's, only partially the story. But as far as Balor and Adam Cole, that's not my dream match, and I understand for a lot of people it is, so I really respect that concept and what they're looking forward to. I think I'm more interested in this Adam Cole match than I've been interested in any Adam Cole match because Finn Balor is doing stuff differently than he's ever done it before, and he's doing things differently than Adam Cole ever does it. So we could see, could really see something.
I don't know. I'd like to see Balor and Cross
Yes.
really go with it, and I think I have a feeling that the Demon would probably come out. I would hope.
Yeah.
That would be interesting, but I mean, this one doesn't do it for me. Like if they didn't have Adam Cole, it would be fine. I think that would actually be better if it's just triple threat and it was those two.
I kind of like that it's on a weekly show though and not a takeover because I feel like that it means
fair.
that there's something more down the line. But go ahead, Clump. What do you think?
No, that is a fair point. And as I think about it, maybe that's something that's been lost sight of in the past years. We've seen a lot more like kind of proper good title matches on TakeOver or not on NXT regular, like just normally, rather than having to wait for a TakeOver, which has been fantastic. And I'm happy to see this match on a TakeOver versus on, say, or see it on a weekly show rather than on a TakeOver. And that leaves room for other things. It leaves room for maybe something bigger or bring Karrion Kross in, So that's cool. And I mean, if for somebody who maybe doesn't have the network, yeah, they get to watch a match that they would have had to wait to, or they would have had to pay for the network to see. So that's pretty cool,
Yeah, that is 100%. There's some good stuff happening in the chat right now, and I want to pull this up before I find it. Here it is. So let me read what's in the chat, and I'm going to come right back to this. In the chat, Justin Time says, my concern is where these title matches on TV, or with these title matches on TV, where does that leave the titles for TakeOver? And I'm glad you asked, because I'm going to bring this up in a second. Grim Reaper brings up a really good point here. He says, Balor will beat Cole at WrestleMania TakeOver to lock in Balor as the man in NXT and send Cole to the main roster. Cole is getting one last NXT hurrah, which is very possible, and in that case, I can't imagine Cole would not chomp at the bit to get into the ring with Balor before he leaves if he knows he is, so I'm on board with that concept. He does say Cross and Balor will happen after WrestleMania. Justin says, especially with reports saying TakeOver is going to be 2 nights. I don't know what the fuck reports he's reading, but
that's weird.
Yeah, I think Justin's, just leave him alone. No, here's what I want to say. As far as what's with all these TV defenses of the title, what it does bring to the title is a form of legitimacy, a form of importance, and a form of dominance to that champion. It's just something to keep in mind, something to think about as we think of what the NXT title means to a lot of people in that organization and those who want to strive to be in that organization versus some of the issues we've had with the title in other organizations. I just want to bring this up real quick, see what you guys think. Kenny Omega, since he's had the AEW title for over 3 months now, has defended it once. Sheeta has defended her AEW women's title 6 times in almost 300 days, over 300 days at this point. And Darby Allin has defended his title twice and is currently the longest reigning TNT title holder in the history of AEW with over 120 days. If you are only defending the title 1 to 2 times a year, then how can you claim anything about being that champion, right? So what I love about putting these title defenses on the weekly television is, for one, it keeps your champion honed, keeps your champion ring ready, keeps them from having any kind of ring rust. You're not just doing run-ins and weird spots. You're not doing fucking golfing segments. But it also makes it seem like this champion's a legit champion. Finn Balor is afraid of no man. He is defending people whenever the opportunity comes up to defend it. Not only is he willing to defend it against Roddy, but before he defends it against Roddy, he's also going to challenge Adam Cole because he wants to prove that all of these people are lesser than, because that's how confident and dominant he is. I love that in a champion. Love it. I'll shoot it over to Amanda. What do you think?
You know, I think definitely if the title has the word TV in it, it should be on TV, and quite often. I don't know. Maybe it's because I don't know. I see things like when NWA had their television title television title. And you think of these things, if you're not doing these big, like takeovers, like if you're not doing that format, like, how the pay-per-views are, like you're doing one a month, then yeah, you need to put it on TV. You need to get that buzz of people watching it, and especially because they're on a network doing this. So I think that's that's the way to go with it. I don't agree with these ones where we have a belt, we're not really defending it. I don't agree with that. I mean, I think that there should be more opportunities that they are doing it. I don't know. It's just, I don't know if people are just afraid because of creative behind it. Like if they, all of a sudden are like, oh yeah, I'm defending it, and then I lose it like right away. Like, okay, I'm not gonna be doing anything for a while. I don't know if that's part of it or what, but I think that I don't mind having these matches on TV, to be quite honest. It's nice to have those big ones, because that's what you want. I would think that's what you would want with some of these guys, with when and if they go to the main roster, is can they carry a show, and that's a huge thing.
And 2 points before I throw it back over to Clump. I do understand what Justin means by saying, ultimately, if you have all these title defenses on TV, does it make the takeover defenses more believable or less believable, right? If you sort of like how the title doesn't typically change hands on house shows. So it's like, well, is it really a title defense if everyone just knows it's just kind of going to be happening? And so is TV the same way? Well, I believe it's how they map out the match. But the other thing, I think that the reason the USA title, the TNT title, the TV title in general, that those were put together in the territory days were to give the world champion a break. So they weren't defending the world championship on every show. You'd have a championship on like a Rick Steiner, who would put on a believable, crazy good match, potentially as a main event match for your TV show, and your pay-per-view would have the world title. So I agree. If you're going to have the name of the network in the title, it should be defended every single week, or at least every other week, if not. Right now, before I kick it over to Clump, Grim Reaper says, right now it doesn't benefit AEW to have a Lesnar title defense schedule because AEW championships are too new and need to build a legacy. And I agree. Having 4 months between title defenses for Kenny Omega doesn't make Kenny Omega look like a better champion. It's too new of a title, and there's too few people who he can defend it against. I think then it would serve him well to at least take out some jobbers along the way. And Just in Time says Darby's held it longer than Cody already. Holy hell, where did the months go? Yeah, he's held it, I think, almost for several months more. Cody's had significantly more defenses, and granted, Miz had more defenses in one night than Darby has had in, was it 4 or 5 months? Clump, what do you think?
I think so. The match, good solid match. Of what we're talking about here a bit. Yeah, and the idea of the TV title being defended more, yeah, seeing more title defenses on regular TV that don't end in schmazes, I'm hella excited for. Because, one of the first matches I remember as a kid that really got me into wrestling was Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar 60-minute Iron Man match on SmackDown. And, after that, I don't remember seeing a lot of title matches on SmackDown or Raw. Like, it led to this, like, they're going to be just schmoz finishes. And it got to the point where now when I watch it, kind of expect it unless it's like a tag belt. Like, yeah, this is going to end in something stupid. Even for, like, secondary belts. It's going to end in something dumb because they're going to build this to the pay-per-view. Which, yeah, that's cool, but I want to see more of this, and I like that.
Yep. No, love it. And that's what I liked about this is, like, you go into the match going, oh, yeah, there's no way Roddy can win. But there's moments of those matches where Balor's just like, man, I don't know. Roddy could get a lucky one. You know what I mean? And you see enough lucky roll-ups here and there in matches, I think, to also just subconsciously be in the back of your mind of, hey, someone could just catch a lucky win and be the champion, really. Mm-hmm. So I do think NXT had a lot more story this week than it has in previous weeks, which I think is fantastic. I think we have a lot of really cool things moving forward. Next week's going to be a banger, one way or the other. I'm super fascinated about what's going to happen with Adam Cole and Finn Balor. Can't wait to see Io Shirai and Toni Storm. I really want Tony to win this one and have Io move on or something, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just a big Tony mark. Yeah, we already talked about that. Anything else you guys think that we missed on either show that you guys want to definitely talk about today?
Not that I can think of.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's more, I think. Yeah, I think that, there really isn't anything, but
I think we did a good job.
They did, both were decent. I'm curious to see what's going to happen with Revolution.
Mm-hmm. That's this Sunday.
I've not been jazzed with any of their pay-per-views.
Correct. I have never felt like I got my money's worth on their pay-per-views. No. But I continue to watch.
I've
even seen it for free and thought I didn't get my money's worth one time.
Yeah. So now I don't like, I don't know, but now there's questions that I have, like, okay, what really is going to be the cinematic match? Is it going to be that exploding barbed wire match? Or is it going to be Sting? Because, okay, obviously he's taking bumps and people are being over the top, taking, whatever he's dishing out. So that's a weird one because the street fight's kind of like, okay, don't let it be backstage. That's not a street fight to me.
We'll see.
So,
we will see. I'm going to be watching. We're not going to do a watch along. We are going to do a watch along for Fastlane with Bishop from Terrible Wrestling Takes podcast. Clump, do you think you're going to get the chance to check out Revolution? Or are you just going to check out highlights once it happens?
Highlights once it happens.
That's fine. Just find it out. I don't think we're going to do a necessarily proper review like we do with some stuff. We're not going to hit segment by segment. We're going to talk about whatever happens out of here. Obviously, the people who return. Amanda, are you going to be able to check it out, or are you going to be able to watch highlights?
Oh, no, I'm watching it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Okay. I'm curious.
Right, we're going to be in chat.
Yeah. Also, I kind of like, how do you have a ladder match with all of these people?
Ladders.
And who's in the ladder match? Kind of is like, yikes.
Oh, it's going to be an interesting mess. So we will
It's
see
like
what happens there. We're going to be on Twitter, tweeting back and forth. If you guys want to join us, I am at Ref Marsh on Twitter. We are WOTR the show. Amanda, tell people where they can find you if they want to tweet at you during Revolution.
Yes, I will be at Ms. Amanda Jane. Jayne.
Clump, tell people where they can find you if they want to buy a fake Rolex.
Crybaby Clump. Gentleman there working for me, fantastic guy. Sounds like he's just trying to support the family. But yeah, if you want a fake Rolex, set of Ray-Ban aviators that look pretty decent. They're not polarized or anything. Nope. Good guy. We get along. We share a hatred of the state of Delaware. That's what we.
Wow.
Yeah, that's true. That's a go-to. That is a go-to. Guys, I think we've done all we're going to do tonight. I think we have I think we've reached our limit there. I think we're getting cut off. Is that last call for you guys? Anything else you want to throw in?
I'm good to go.
No, I'm good to go.
We will see you guys back here again, this crew specifically, next Thursday. You can find me and Kevlar back here on Tuesday night. Guys, like I said, WrestlingOnTheRocks.com for all of our links. I'm at Ref Marsh. That's at Crybaby Clump and at Amanda Jane. And we are WOTR the show. Thank you, Ms. Amanda Jane with a Y. Thank you guys for coming through, having a drink, and hanging out. Guys, that's the last call. Cheers.
Hey, producer lady here. Thanks for tuning in. Continue to support us or buy us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch. Or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers!
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.